Aqidah number 28. That was just a recap. Aqidah number 28. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does as He wants and what He wants. As He wills, as He wants, and how He wants. And no one has control over Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His actions. The Quran says, فَعَالٌ لِمَا يُرِيد. فَعَالٌ لِمَا يُرِيد. In Surah Buruj, that Fa'al is the one that does. Lima yurid, for whatever He intends. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can do as He wants, as He wishes, as He pleases. And there's nobody to question Him. There's nobody to question Him. Like He says in the Quran that He's not questioned, but you are. On the Day of Judgment, we're the ones that are going to be questioned of what we did, not Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So there's nobody to question Him, but as humans we are questionable. Nobody can keep Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala away from fulfilling His will. When He's all powerful, then can anybody stop Him? No. You can't stop Him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not sleep, nor become, what do you call this when you're about to go to sleep or you're falling asleep? Dozing, yes? Slumber, better translation. Yes? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not slumber. It's just a translation of Ayatul Kursi, isn't it? Yes? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not slumber. For example, we do a certain action, what happens to us? We get bored easily, don't we? Yes? When we get bored, we start to slumber. We get tired. And we say to ourselves, what a boring class that Saturday class was. Yes? And then you say, I'm not going next week. One of the traps of the shaitan. Yes? The most dangerous people to the shaitan are the students of knowledge. Yes? So what he will always try to do is try to trap them in laziness, and bring up other things and say to them, bring waswasa and whispers inside the head that look, you don't have to come to class today. Yes? You won't really miss anything. You already know this. Yes? You already know this. You've done it 1,000 times before. So don't go to class. Then once, twice, third times. It's on demand. So then you can choose to watch it on demand. But remember one thing, the blessings that you have sitting with your teachers, the blessings you have from learning direct from your teachers, yes, is different from watching it on demand. Okay? Watching it on a live feed or watching it on demand. You learn a lot by sitting on the feet of ulama ikram than watching them on YouTube. Okay? So remember that. A blessing comes with it. The Sahaba ikram sat with the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam, and then with the Sahaba, the Tabi'een sat with them. With the Tabi'een, the Tabi'een sat with them, and like that, the ulama sat with them, and it carried on until this day and age. Yes, it was passed down this way, and it wasn't passed down on YouTube. Okay, so it kills the blessings off. Many times the blessings, sometimes you might understand something, and I say this to all my students, sometimes you might get knowledge, but the barakah is not there. Yes, one of the many things is that the barakah, the blessings of ulama, the du'as of the ulamas have to be with you. You could be the most knowledgeable person, and there have been examples in the past as well, that you could be the most knowledgeable person and not a single person benefits from you. Yes? So then what's the benefit of that knowledge? If you couldn't pass it on, even to your children. Yes? So the du'as, like Imam Abu Hanifa is recorded regarding Imam Abu Hanifa, that his father or his grandfather took him or his father to Sayyidina Ali, and Sayyidina Ali made du'a. Yes? For him to become an imam and so on and so forth. Yes? and then he became one of the greatest just by a dua. So sometimes you get the blessing with it as well. Okay, it's not always just about passing on information. Anyway, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not slumber, become lazy. Yes, because if he slumbers, then what's happened? He's changed. His state changed. So when his state changed, that's a sign of creation, isn't it? That he's created. Have you noticed how these principles just keep rebounding? They keep repeating themselves. Yes, that's why we mentioned them in the starting straight away. You know, one of the first lessons you had, you said it was very, very hard. Yes, but you see now it all makes sense. Yes, it just keeps repeating itself constantly. Same principles. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees all of the universe. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees all of the universe. And this doesn't tire him out, nor does it cause him to sleep. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a sustainer of the whole of the universe. Something to understand. He sustains us all, doesn't he? That's why we're here. If he decided not to sustain us, then we wouldn't be here. Because everything you have in your life is rizq from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The word rizq in Arabic is not just used on food. It's on every single thing that you have in your life, down to the breath that you take. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is more merciful to you than your parents. Even if you don't understand it. Even if you don't understand how and why, He's still more merciful to you than your parents. So this is why we don't, when things go wrong, we don't say, why did God do this? Why did God do this? Because there is always a hikmah, a wisdom behind it and a mercy in that, which you may not realize at the time, but later on in life, you will realize. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy is the support of the broken hearts. I mean, you should always have hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Always constantly make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No need to turn towards people. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the greatest. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is He who forms the child within the womb. The reason He mentioned this because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions it in the Quran. Yes, regarding the ulum khamsa, the 5 unseen things. Okay, He mentions in that. But this is, you have to understand this as well. That He forms it and then He also knows what gender it is. Yes, but where does that lie? If you want to go into detail with it, where does that lie? Where does that knowledge of the unseen lie? That will lie in a place where it's literally impossible for a human to know what it is. Yes? For example, the blood clot, the first blood clot which a human is made from. Okay? Now, it's impossible, isn't it? Would you know if this baby or this blood clot, which is in the womb, is it a boy or a girl? Just by looking at a blood clot. You can't, can you? You can't tell that. So we'll say that that is something which is only intrinsic to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Only He knows what gender this baby will be. Anything after that stage, I would say, anything, when the baby is starting to be formed, we will say does not come under ulume khamsa, knowledge of the unseen. Hence, if you find out the gender of your baby, then it's not shirk. Okay? It's not shirk, it's permissible. There's nothing wrong with it. Yes? And I think that the nurses say that when they ask you, they say there's not a lot of surprises you get in life. So leave this as a surprise. But anyway, it's nothing wrong with it though. If somebody wants to know what gender the baby is, there's nothing wrong with it. Recommend it. It's down to yourself really. It's down to yourself.
But just
Uh, like I would say, there's not a lot of surprises in life, so yeah, keep that surprise. Yes. Um, it's it's the only time you will feel in life as a child when you used to get presents and you used to open them. It's the only chance you're gonna get as an adult close to that feeling. So, but in the terms of the matter, the masala, it's not shirk. Okay, it's nothing like that. Okay? But remember one thing as well. Even if somebody knew the gender of baby, like for example, Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, before he passed away, is related that his wife was pregnant, and before he passed away, he divided his own inheritance. Yes. So while Sayyida Aisha and his sons and other daughters were looking at the inheritance, they found a portion of another girl, but she wasn't. There was no other girl. Yes. But as soon as he passed away, his wife then gave. But the portion he left was of a girl, and a girl was born. Okay, the girl was born. But if you look at it in terms of the masala, the matter, in terms of inheritance, he was actually meant to leave. You might say, oh, it's just coincidence, isn't it, that he left it because he knew his wife was pregnant. But in terms of inheritance, he should have left the males, because the males is double always, isn't it? So if there was a chance of it being a male or a female. So if he left it as a males, then you could say that, he had this in mind. Yeah? But he specifically left a girl's portion. I think they named Asma. Okay. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who forgives sins. He accepts tawbah. But as well as he does this, he accepts tawbah, he's forgiving, he also has his wrath upon people as well. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's wrath is the strongest. When he takes people to account, then that's going to be the strongest. Yeah, it's all the same, 28. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala strength is such that if he wants to make a small thing big, he can. And if he wants to make a big thing small, he can. Can we get that stick to close the windows? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's strength is such that if he wants to make a big thing small, or a small thing big, then he can. It's all in his strength. It's all in his strength. One of the examples of this is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says something in the Quran regarding a camel going through a needle's head. Yes, a camel going through a needle's head. Now if you look at it, it's literally impossible, isn't it? How small is a needle? Yes, how big is a camel? And then a camel going through the needle's head. The ulama define it as saying that what? That the camel will either be shrinked, yes, and then it'll go through the needle's head, or the opposite way, that the needle will be made bigger so that the camel can then walk through it, whichever way it works. Yeah. But what we're saying is he has that strength, doesn't he? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can raise the rank of people however he wants, and he can lower those ranks as he wants as well. You might be thinking that why are we mentioning all this? It's all on that he can do as he pleases. All this expansion is of just that one aqidah of what? That he can do as he pleases. So if you go all the way back in terms of mercy, then the opposite of it was wrath. Yes? But he can do as he pleases. Whoever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to guide, he guides, and whoever he wants to misguide, and I intentionally say like that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to misguide, then he can as well. Yes? You might pick up translation sometimes it says Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala causes to misguide. Yeah, it's a Mu'tazili translation. Yes? It's common, but it's a Mu'tazili translation. Yes? Because like I told you that the Mu'tazila believe what? That the misguidance comes from you. You're the creator of it, not God, so to speak. Okay? So when they'll add that cause then. Yeah? That he created the cause, and then you misguided yourself. That makes sense? But whereas we say what? Khayri wa sharrihi min Allah ta'ala. All good and bad is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So even misguidance, yes, is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even though we don't say like that. Okay?
Why would Allah invoke misguidance upon a person?
Is in accordance with his knowledge, isn't it? Yes? It's in accordance with his knowledge. And then he knows the fate of all people as well. Yes? So these things you have to keep into account as well. Okay? It's not that he wishes it for that person. Yes? By wish, I mean that he's pleased with it. He's not pleased with it. He's not pleased with people being misguided. Yes? But because that's their fate, that's the chosen path which they have taken, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then creates it. Yes. Okay. With all this in mind, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whatever He does is always adl, fair. It's always fair. So regardless of what He does, there's fairness in it. It's never transgression. Even if somebody is thrown into hell, then that's the adl of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes? Even if somebody is thrown into hell, then that's the adl of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A wali once said that if God threw me into hell, I would still thank Him. I would still praise Him.
It was his choice.
Yes? It was His choice, but He kept me in existence. Okay? He kept me in existence, and my name was still more or less echoing. Yes? People in hell will still know each other, won't they? Yes? So if you look at it that way, then that shows mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as well. But look at it this way as well, that if you have a property, yes, and you own it fully, you have complete right over it, don't you? Do you? Yes? Let's say a car. If you want to go and crash it into your house, do you have the right to do that? Yes, you do. Yes? If you're living on private land, then you have. If you want to start breaking it, do you have the right to do that? Yes, you have. Can somebody say you're doing zulm? They can't they? Can somebody say you're doing zulm if you start throwing your makeup away? Yeah? Can somebody say that's zulm? It's transgression. Yes? That's not. Why? Because it's your property, isn't it? It's your property. We say similarly, everything in the universe belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and He can do as He pleases with it. He can do as He pleases with it. If He wants to be merciful on something or someone, He can be. And if He wants to put something in hell, then He can do so. Yes? Because it's all His property. And He can do as He pleases. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free of zulm. Remember that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not transgress. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala encompasses everything. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala encompasses everything. By His knowledge, that is. By His knowledge. and nobody can surround him. So you come in by knowledge as well, and in his sight. In his sight as well. Benefit and harm is all with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's used hands again here, Umar. Nafa और ज़रर उसी के हाथ में है. Okay. Benefit and harm is all in his hands or with him. Whoever he wants to give benefit to, they take benefit. Whoever he wants to harm, then they will harm. Yes. You can't say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can't harm. Then where's his strength? It's all with him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can reward or punish a person. And he does whatever is better for the person. And nothing is necessary for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Remember this point. Nothing is necessary upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That you read 100 nafal and say, that's it, I'm done. You have to give me my reward. Yes? It's wajib upon God to reward you. No, it's not wajib upon God to reward you. You could read 1,000 nafal in a night and he doesn't give you anything. Yes? That's up to him. That's up to him. But I might then say, what's the point of us doing anything? Yes? Out of his love for you, he rewards you. And he's got principles which he's created, asbab, causes. Yes? So if you fulfill those causes, then he rewards you for them. So if you read nafal, then he will reward you for those nafal. But it's not wajib upon him. It's out of his blessing that he rewards you. Yes? So the reason we're saying this, so that you don't get this notion that I read 1,000 nafal and he never rewarded me. Yes. What notion you want to get out of your head is that you will say this is zulm. This is zulm. It's not zulm, is it? Transgression. Zulm, one of the definitions of zulm is to not place something in its rightful place. Yes? Everything has a place, doesn't it? To not put in his rightful place, that is zulm. Yes? So you might say that it was necessary upon him to reward me, but he didn't reward me. And astaghfirullah, you might say God has done zulm. This is the wrong way of thinking. Why? Because it's never wajib upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reward you. Yes? But he has granted you honor, and through his mercy and through his karam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has then said that he will reward you for these certain actions. Does that make sense? Yeah? Look a bit confused. So remember, nothing is wajib upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nothing. You can't say that if this action is done, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has to do this. This has to do this. That is necessary for him to do it. This is not within Islam. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can do whatever he likes. Yes? So even if you have read 1,000 nafal in a night and hoping for a great reward at the end of it, he doesn't have to reward you. We're not saying that he doesn't reward you. We're saying he does not have to reward you. Yes? But because of his blessings and mercy towards you, he rewards you. Yes? But if he doesn't, for example, if it happens to you one day and he doesn't reward you, then know that you can't, it's a test from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then know you can't blame him for anything. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the owner of everything. He does as he pleases, and whatever command he wants to give, he gives. But out of his karam, his blessings, he has made promises to you that if you do certain actions, you will be rewarded. Yes? So that means that Muslims will go to heaven and kuffar will go to hell. And this is all part of his karam. And is never falls under zulm. It's never transgression. So all these points that we just randomly mentioned are all points where we're saying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has He has free will. Yes? He has an irada. He does as He pleases. Yes? And you've just seen all these more or less examples they were, weren't they? Of that, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can do whatever He wants. If He wants to reward you, He can reward you. If He wants to punish you, He can punish you. Yes? He can do whatever He likes with you. And some people He has His mercy, some people He has His wrath. Some will go to heaven, some will go to hell. Yes, and He'll do as He pleases, and nobody can remove whatever He decides to do. So that was on irada. Aqidah number 29. In the actions of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the commands that He gives, the actions that He does, like He created, there are many, many wisdoms in there. Many wisdoms. Regardless of if we know those wisdoms or not, the wisdom is not important to us. What's important is that this is a command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the action of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And nor does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala need a purpose. Nor does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala need a purpose. As humans, we need a purpose, don't we? Yes? Why we're here today? Or in this course? That's a question. You will know the answer to it. You want to know something of the deen. You want to become scholars of the deen. People who understand the deen, who can pass on the deen to their children. Whatever your purpose is, or why you're here. But that's why you're here. You created an action of rather you didn't create it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created it, but you intended to come here. For what reason? For a purpose that you have, for an intention that you have for the future. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't need that. He can make you stand and doesn't need a reason for making you stand. He can make you sit and He doesn't need a reason for making you sit. Yes? He can make you the most intellectual person on the planet and He doesn't need a reason. And then He can take all that knowledge away from you and doesn't need a reason. Do you understand that? So regardless of if we know the wisdom behind it or not, again it's the same point that He can do as He pleases. And the reason He doesn't need a purpose is that if you look at a purpose is that you have a purpose. A purpose is that where when it's fulfilled, the benefit of it returns to the person. Yes? If you have a purpose for driving a car, yes, and then you pass your driving test. So the purpose is to pass your driving test, yes, to drive a car. Now when you start driving a car, who gets the benefit? Yeah, the one who fulfilled it. That's you then, isn't it? So you get the benefit. Now here you have to look that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free of all benefits. Does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala need any benefit? Does He need any help? No. So then does He need a purpose to do His actions? He doesn't need a purpose to do His actions, then does He? Do you understand that? You look confused. Whenever you make a purpose or an intention to do something, there's always a purpose behind it. But that purpose, there's a benefit to it. And who benefits from it is you. Yes? Who benefits from it? You. You play football. Yes? You want to score all the goals. How do you benefit? You become man of the match. Yes? But who got the benefit from that? You got the benefit from that, didn't you? Yes? That all the team carried you on their shoulders. Yes? For 10 minutes of fame. But the benefit of that returned to you, that's the purpose then, isn't it? Now, if we associate purpose to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then we'll have to say that He benefited from something. He benefited from something. And that's wrong then, isn't it? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not need benefit. So this is why we never use this word that this was the purpose, this was why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did this command. Rather we'll say this is the wisdom of why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did it. This is the wisdom. Because that doesn't have to be a benefit in wisdom for the person that's making the command or the action. So there's many wisdoms behind why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does this. But there are musabbibat though. There are musabbibat, meaning in this realm I told you before as well, is a realm of causes, isn't it? Reason and causes, cause and effect. Now if you got fire, if you put your hand in it, what will happen? It will burn, won't it? And so on and so forth. So that this, you jump, you fall. Okay. You throw a ball in the air, then it comes back down. And so on and so forth. The laws of physics are there. But then sometimes He places people in the fire. He places people in the fire. And there's many wisdoms behind that. On the answer you might think, how bad is this? But the truth is there's many wisdoms behind it as to why. For example, Sayyidina Ibrahim ala nabina wa alayhi salatu wasalam, Namrud and his people placed him into the fire. Khatib Baghdadi writes that the fire was so big that they couldn't even figure out how to put Sayyidina Ibrahim in it, because they couldn't get close to it. They were standing like miles and miles away and just watching this massive fire. Whatever they could find, they put everything into this fire. And it became so big, the heat was so much, that they had to stand a couple of miles away from it, and they still could not bear the heat to it. So then what happened was they couldn't figure out how to place Sayyidina Ibrahim within the fire. At this point, the shaitan came to them and whispered regarding the catapult. Yes? Whispered regarding the catapult. This is one of the reasons why Muslims don't use catapults as well. You rarely find Muslims using, in jihad, using catapults in history. So he devised that plan to them that you can make a catapult and throw Sayyidina Ibrahim over into the fire. When they did that, Sayyidina Ibrahim, according to one narration, was in mid-air. In another narration, he was within the fire. But regardless of when it was, Sayyidina Jibreel came to him and said, do you have a need? Alaka haja, do you have a need? Sayyidina Ibrahim answered him by saying, ilmuhu bihali kafani an su'ali, that the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala of my state is sufficient for me to question Him or to make dua to Him. Meaning, He knows exactly where I am, and if He wants to send mercy, then He will send mercy. Okay. But look here, then after this Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like He says in the Quran, Ya naru kuni bardan wa salama ala Ibrahim, O fire, become cool and safety for Ibrahim, upon Ibrahim. Sayyidina Ibrahim was placed into the fire. But now it seemed like, why has Allah subhanahu, what was the purpose of this? Why has Allah subhanahu, what's the reason behind it? We don't need to look into that. But we look into the wisdom of why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala let this take place. And what was that? That there would be a miracle. There would be a miracle. And Sayyidina Ibrahim will come out of this fire unharmed. He will come out of the fire unharmed. Okay. So this is one of the wisdoms of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's actions. So we don't need to never question the purpose of why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does an action. Yes? But we should try to look into the wisdoms of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, why He has done this action in terms of wisdom. But again, it's not necessary upon us to question what the wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is. For example, He said establish prayer. Yes? We don't need to look why He's told us to establish prayer. We don't need to look into what the wisdom is. It's not necessary upon us. What's necessary upon us is to accept that command and fulfill it. Yes? We don't need to look at why he's done it. You know, like some people come and they say, before I want to start reading namaz, I want to know why he commanded it. It doesn't work like that within Islam. That's not obedience. Okay? Obedience is that when he commands you, then you do it, and then maybe later on think about why you were commanded to do that. Yes? That's obedience. That's adab. That's etiquette. You question it. Not question it, but actually ask the question what the wisdom was of why he did that. Sahaba Ikram used to be in namaz. Yes? And the Prophet used to call them and they should just walk off. And not even question the Prophet ﷺ, why the Prophet called them. Do whatever the Prophet said and then come back to that prayer. Yes? And according to the Muhaddiseen, that Sahabi who did that, even though he went into the town center and everywhere, he was still in prayer. Yes? He was still in prayer. So here, if you look at, if you were to ask the wisdom, or he just did it. He didn't ask the wisdom why. The Prophet knew that he was in prayer. Yes? Now, he didn't ask the wisdom. But if you, as outsiders, after we look at the whole scenario, we understand what? It was to raise his rank. It was to raise his rank with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he became one of the greatest companions as well. So do you see why? So we never question why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has done something. If we get to know the wisdom of why this action was done, or why he created this thing, or why he commanded it with such and such thing, then that's an added bonus. Yes? Which might give us a clear picture of where we're heading. But the truth is, if he's commanded us, if he's created something in our lives, then we should just take it. We should just take it as it comes. So this was in regards to the wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this marks the end of this chapter. This marks the end of this chapter in regards to the beliefs which you have regarding Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Anyone got any questions on this? Nothing? So you understand it all completely? Yes? So if I pick any one of you out, you can teach the whole chapter. My Ustaz used to say to me that study a book in such a way that as soon as you finish it, if you were to be able to teach, if somebody was asked to ask you to teach it, then you should be able to teach it straight away. And if the answer is no, then you haven't read the book. Okay? So always read a book in such a way that you know it inside out. We don't want you to memorize it. You don't have to memorize it. But the masail in there, that if you hear those masail again, you should be able to explain them again as well. Okay? So they are basic things, these. They're not very detailed things. The truth is, I can open these points up more and more and more and more and more, and a lot of the light will come out, a lot of proofs, evidences we can go into as well. But I feel that they're going to confuse you more and more. Okay? So that's why we're just touching on them. So what we did for today was that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has free will as well. And He can do as He pleases. He has an irada. And He can do as He pleases. Within that, we also said that He has mercy and He has His wrath, and so on and so forth. The examples that we gave. Then the next aqidah after it, we said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does certain actions. And those actions have many wisdoms in them. But our job is not to question His purpose or His wisdom. If we happen to, He doesn't have a purpose first of all, but His wisdom, we don't need to question it. If we happen to find out what the wisdom is behind it, then it's an added bonus. But we don't really need to know. Okay. So on one of the examples we gave was Sayyidina Ibrahim. Now, if, for example, if you expand it, you throw a little paper into fire, it'll burn it straight away. Yes? You throw a human into fire, he will definitely burn. Yes, in this day and age. But then you have Sayyidina Ibrahim going into the fire. Yes, and then all the laws change. All the laws. Because he can do whatever he likes. He can do whatever he likes. And then, for example, you throwing a piece of paper, there's many wisdoms in that why he burnt. Yes? Maybe one of missed to keep everything according to the norm. Yes? And if it didn't burn, and you made a claim that it didn't burn, then you might say that you're the ghost of the time. Yes? And that could be damaging to you and people, for example. Okay? But for a prophet to go into fire, for a prophet to go into fire, then the deen resided on him, didn't it? If, astaghfirullah, a prophet, for example's sake, if a prophet burned in the fire while the kuffar had thrown him into the fire, then all of the deen rested upon him. And his claim of prophethood and being a true prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would have also been finished. Yes? That he claimed to be a prophet and the kuffar were throwing him into the fire, that his Lord will be able to protect him. Yes? That would have finished the religion there and then, wouldn't it? So the wisdom here was that the fire became cool to actually protect the faith of people as well. Even though there was only 2 people at that time. Yes? It was only Sayyidina Ibrahim and his wife. Sayyidina Ibrahim and his wife, Sarah. There was nobody else. According to another narration, there was Sayyidina Lut. Sayyidina Lut was also Muslim at that time. So other than these people, there was nobody else Muslim, but to keep Iman within them, this miracle happened. And also as a wake-up call for people. We'll stop there, inshallah. Not so to speak, but it is sinful if it reveals the aura. Okay? If it reveals the aura, then...
If it was like a denim jacket, and it would just have like a few rips in it.
Then it's fine as long as you got something underneath. Yeah. That's fine.
My dad told me it was haram.
I've seen men wearing ripped jeans. Men wear ripped jeans, don't they? Yes? If it's from underneath, like the below the knee, yeah, the shin, then it's fine. But if it's ripped from the thighs and you can see the thigh, then obviously it depends on the size of the hole itself. But from what I've seen, prayer won't be done in those clothes. Similar with women then. Okay, if any part of the body is revealed, which is part of the aura, then prayer will not be done in them, and that's sinful anyway, just generally. Do you still need that book? Can I have a surf book? Do you want to just pass it down? There was a question somebody asked. Find it. That when we was talking about that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can do as He pleases, and then we spoke about that it's not necessary on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reward us. Understand what the question is? So could we say reward is not guaranteed? Reward is guaranteed. Yes, that reward is guaranteed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by His promises in the Quran. Yes, if you do such and such thing, you will get heaven. Yes, or one of the examples from the hadith is that if you say subhanallah, then a tree is planted. This is guaranteed, but it's not wajib upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give you that. Okay, so remember that. One thing for Him to be wajib, yes, and then there is that He gives you it. The reward, His promise that He will give you it, that's guaranteed. Yes, but in no way, shape or form is it wajib upon Him. Wajib means that it's an obligation upon Him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not obliged to give you anything. Yes, we're the ones that are obliged, aren't we? So He's not obliged to give us anything, but He has guaranteed us that if we follow His way, then we will be given heaven. That's guaranteed, and that's guaranteed by His own promise. And then we know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not break His promises as well. So hence that's why it's guaranteed, isn't it? Yeah? So the two different things that we're looking at. Him guaranteeing a reward is something else, and for Him to reward us, as it being wajib upon Him to reward us, an obligation upon Him to reward us, they're two different matters. Okay. Some argue Allah sits in on His throne. Which one is it? What would we say to that? Okay. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not sit on His throne. You've read that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free of time, place, space. Yes? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free of dimensions. He does not sit on His throne. He's free of that. Like some people say that He sits on His throne and by His weight the throne creaks. The Australian guy said that. Okay. That his throne creaks by his weight. Astaghfirullah. If a child hears that, he'll think, what's the way of God? Yes. It's all nonsense. Okay. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He says that He has istiwa, then it's according to His own, that He came over the throne, if you want to translate it literally, then it's according to His own rank and whatever He means by it. It's one of those verses which is really, really difficult to understand its meaning. Some said that it refers to His rule over now the rest or the whole of the universe. Yes, even though He always ruled it. Yes, and so on and so forth. And one of the things is that the throne is on the throne holds one of the highest ranks in creation. Yes, which shows that he who is near the throne is the closest to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as well. So there's many ways of looking at that, but no way, shape or form do we mean that He sits on His throne as you are sat on a chair. Yes, a person who believes that God is sat on the throne just as we are sat on a chair is out of the fold of Islam. Simple. Yes, he is out of the fold of Islam. He's not Muslim according to us, because he has given form to Allah, given similarity, hasn't he? So just the way we are sat in this chair, that's the way God sits on His throne. Yes, that's similarity. We have form. He's proven a form for God. Yes, and we have to ask those people that say this all the time, that they seem to make people think that they're the flag bearers of Tawheed. Where does their Tawheed last on this? That God has a form now. So when God has a form, any form can be divided into two, can't it? Yes? Any form can you be divided into two? Yes? Anything. You put a little sweet on this chair, it can still be divided into two. Yes? Two is not Tawheed, is it? Two is not Tawheed. Two does not prove the oneness of God. So we have to keep the oneness of God intact in every single way. There was another question, but I think that's related to FIqh, isn't it?
No.
Is it true that they say if you fast on the day of Ashura and Arafat day, your past sins are forgiven? Yes, it is true. It comes in Hadith Sharif. Okay. What is the throne? The throne is a throne is a chair. Okay. The throne is a throne which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned in the Quran. Yes. Some ulama, some mufassirin do make a difference between the arsh and the kursi, but many say it's the same thing. Arsh is the kursi and the kursi is the arsh, just two different names for the same thing. Okay. Some say they're slightly separate, where one is the throne itself, the chair itself, and the other is a footstool. Yes. So the arsh is the throne and the kursi is the footstool. Okay. So some make differences like that in tafsir. How should one see a calamity as, and how is the best way to think about it? Think about it as a mercy from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? For Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only trials those who He loves. Yes? So if you look at it that way, then there is always light at the end of this tunnel. Yes? Like the Prophet, or rather, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Hadith Sharif, that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that the ones to be trialed the most by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are the Anbiya, then the Salihin, okay? Then the righteous, and then it just goes down like that. Okay.
How would one differentiate between a calamity and a punishment?
Be rest assured, punishment is not coming to you in this world. Okay? Yes? In that form. You can look at it as a punishment, but then that punishment really is a calamity upon you. Like, for example, you've sinned and now you have to be disgraced, in your own eyes even. Yes? So you can look that as a trial and as a punishment from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But again, it's there as a trial and a test to make you better. To make you better. Turn towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, do tawbah. Yes? But in terms of punishment, of fireballs coming from the sky, this is something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has promised on the tongue of His Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It will not come upon this ummah. Yes? If you disobey, it's not like you'll just be made extinct. Okay? Fireballs will come. Yes? Massive thunders will not come, yes, the way they came to previous nations and destroyed all of them. Sayyidina Jibreel won't come and just pick all your houses up and throw them into the air and throw it back down again. Yes, as we see for Qawm Lut. Yes, this is what we class as punishment as well. Okay, but like little things that happen in your life, if you look at them as a calamity or as a punishment, but you look at it in a sense that they're there to make you better then.
So would we say things like, tsunami of Indonesia and the thing in America?
I wouldn't say it's a punishment, no.
Calamity.
It's a calamity, it's a test, it's a trial. And not a test for the people there, it's a test for us, for the rest of the ummah, of how we react to it. I'm just going to go through all of these. If the aura is or in less, what we didn't have some, then a quarter, in salah, then is salah walid. If a quarter of your aura opens, yeah, if you don't cover it up straight away, then it will break your prayer. Yes, and when I say quarter of your aura, I don't mean your whole body, I mean the limb. A quarter of your limb, for example, an arm is one limb. Yes, if a quarter of that, your arm opens, for women that is, yes, in prayer, then if you don't cover it straight away, then your prayer will break. How would you deal with people who treat you badly in this case? In what case?
I think from before.
For the calamity. Yes. Be patient. That's reward for the people who are patient. Yes. Be patient and going to pray. Read namaz as well. Yes. And you'll see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward you immensely. There's always light at the end of this tunnel. One of the reasons, or one of the easiest ways to reach Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is through patience. Yes, if you are patient, then your ranks will be raised by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes. This is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions patience and then namaz as well. Yes, patience and namaz in the Quran. Yes, wherever you see namaz, sometimes you'll see patience also next to it as well. So these are two things which you can turn to. If people are treating you badly, if it's something legal, then and you can exercise your right, then exercise your right. Okay, but if it's something that you can forgive and forget, then forgive and forget. Okay, this is the best way and the sunnah way of the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam. That if it's little things, then you forgive and forget. If people's rights are affected, then obviously then you have a right to exercise your rights as well. Somebody has stolen something from you and you want it back, then you have a right to exercise that right of getting that stolen product back. Okay, and so on and so forth. We'll pick up on these things as we go along, inshallah ta'ala. Can we have another book? Salah is valid if you wear a shirt. Not for women, for men. Okay? Yeah. Who wanted? It's past the screen. Salah is valid in a t-shirt, yeah.
Is it makruh?
According to some ulama, it is makruh. Yes, it is makruh. But I like to look at it as that how you are dressed during the day. Okay? For men, how you are dressed during the day. If you are dressed, for example, outside, you've got a nice big jacket on and then a jumper underneath and then you've got a t-shirt on underneath that, and when you come into the mosque you take all of that off and you're just standing in a jumper, then it's slightly disrespectful, yeah, to come into prayer like that. Then I would say it's makruh, because you weren't in that state throughout the whole day. Yeah, but if it's a summer day and you're out and about with only your t-shirt on, there's nothing else with you, no jacket, nothing, and then you come into prayer, then it's not makruh. Yes, because that's the dress you had on for that day. Tight-fitted jeans for men. I don't know how to answer that. In terms of the prayer will be valid. Yes. In terms of is it a right etiquette of clothes, or is it Islamic way of wearing clothes? Then no. Is it following the Sunnah? No, it's not following the Sunnah. Okay. Same thing for the sisters on that as well. There is a hadith on that those the Prophet said closer to the day of judgment there'll be women who will be wearing clothes, but then they will still be seen as naked. And then later on the Prophet said that they won't get the scent of heaven. Okay, and there's many hadiths like similar to that. Okay. We'll stop there on the questions. We'll start our fiqh lesson inshallah. Next week on the Aqidah we're going to be starting those aqaid which are related to prophethood. Yes? So we're talking about the attributes of the Anbiya alayhi salatu wasalam against that same code of what's possible for them, what's impossible for them, and what's permissible for them. Okay? So that'll be next week inshallah ta'ala. What was the last thing we did in fiqh? The etiquettes of wudu. Yep. Do we finish that? Miswak. So we were doing the sunnahs then, won't we? Yes? We were doing the sunnahs, won't we? The sunnahs of wuzu we mentioned were 18. Yes? And from them we did washing both hands, including the wrists, saying Bismillah in the starting, and then doing miswak. And I think I gave you a bit of a dentist lesson. Yes. So even if it's with the finger. Look at the next bit. Wal mad madatu. And rinsing the mouth out. And I'm intentionally translating it like that. Yes? As opposed to gargling. If you got a translation, if it says gargling, then it's not gargling here. It's rinsing the mouth out. In wuzu, rinsing the mouth out is sunnah. So washing the mouth out itself is a sunnah. In ghusl is farz, isn't it? Yes? But what's farz in ghusl? Rinsing the mouth out or gargling? Rinsing. Even in ghusl, rinsing the mouth out is farz. Okay? And in wuzu it's sunnah. Yes? In wuzu it's sunnah. And both gargling, in both of them is a sunnah. Gargling in?
Gargling is sunnah as well.
Gargling in both of them, in ghusl and in wuzu, is a sunnah. But rinsing the mouth out in wuzu is sunnah. And in ghusl it's farz. We'll talk about that later on as well. Now look, we said doing mazmaza, we rinsing the mouth out. If I say words like that and you don't understand it, speak up. Rinsing the mouth out 3 times is sunnah. How many times? 3 times it's sunnah. So, and he says that even if it's with one handful. So, for example, you got a pot, you take water from it, and then you place it in your mouth, a bit of water, you still got water in your hand. Then what happens is you can spit that out, rinse your mouth out with it, take another sip, spit that out, and then take a third one, but from the same handful. Then he mentions istinshaq, washing the nose out, blowing the nose. Okay. But he mentions with this that you'll do this with 3 different handfuls. How many?
3 different.
Yes? So you take water in, blow it out. Take water in, blow it out. Take new water, take it in, blow it out. Okay. Why has he done that? Why 1 handful for mouth and 3 handfuls for nose? Somebody said something. Anybody know?
Is it because if you blow out on your nose, you can contaminate that water easier than the one?
If I said to you, if you put the water in, you move your hand, and then you blow, don't you?
Yeah.
Yes. So the blowing action is afterwards. You're close though. The reason is what goes in your mouth you can control, because you can close your mouth. Yes, nothing comes out. Okay. With your nose, what goes up comes back down. Okay. So there's no control. Yes. So when you place water in your nose, you have no control over it. It's definitely going to come back into your hand. Yes, you said blow your nose, that's why. Yeah. This is without you even blowing your nose. You as soon as you take water up, it will come back onto your hand. So hence why he said 3 different handfuls. Okay. This is the sunnah. Here now look, he mentions wal mubalaghatu fil madmada, to exaggerate the rinsing of the mouth. Here he means gargling. Now he means gargling. Is sunnah to gargle. Okay. And for a person to exaggerate him blowing his nose, that is when he takes water into his nose, try to take it to the bone of the nose. Yes? What do we call it? The scientific name for it when you get the brain freeze. Yes? When sometimes you take water up and it goes in and then you get that. We don't want you to get all that all the time, but close to that, but it's close to enter into inside your body. That's how we exaggerate rinsing the mouth and rinsing the nose. Okay, so it's not just a case of putting the water into your nose. No, try to take it as far and as close as you can to the bone of your nose, and then blow your nose out. But this is all for a person. Gargling and taking the water to the bone of the nose is for a person who is not fasting, because you wouldn't do that in your fast, would you? You'll break your fast otherwise.
For the nose, for a person fasting, what should he do? Just use his fingers?
No, just take water in, but don't let it go to, you don't have to take it all the way to the bone. Okay. That he just doesn't exaggerate it. Rinsing of the nose is sunnah. He can do that bit, but exaggerating that rinsing, that he takes it to the bone, he doesn't have to do that. Okay. Doing khilal of the beard. Doing khilal of the beard. Khilal is getting wet hand and passing it through your beard. Yes. That's khilal. That's sunnah for men. That's sunnah for men. If you have a beard, then you can do khilal of it. And the khilal is done from underneath. Okay. Takhleel of the fingers. Khilal of the fingers. Yes. Just passing fingers through fingers. That is also sunnah. This is sunnah for you to do.
Is it that way? That's the sunnah?
This way, yeah. Yes. The truth is, there's no actual particular method for it, and you'll see different ulama doing in different ways. Yes, but just khilal, if you just do that, then that's khilal as well. Okay, but generally, it's taught this way, so it's all good. Now, this khilal can be done in the starting. Yes, or it can be done when you're washing your arms. Yes, so after you wash your arms, then you just quickly do the khilal as well. To wash thrice and take a note on washing everything that you wash. There's only one thing you don't wash in wuzu. What's that? The head. Yes, so you don't do a masa of the head 3 times, but everything else you wash 3 times. That was sunnah 9, by the way. Sunnah 10 is to do masa of the whole head. To do masa of the whole head. If I'm going too fast, let me know. So remember, according to us, it's fast to do masa of a quarter, isn't it? So just to get a wet hand and put into your head, your farz is done. Yes? But to do masa of the whole head, this is sunnah. Okay? And I was going to tell you how to do masa of your head. Okay? So have your hands like this. They're not Illuminati signs, okay? So don't be recording and put it on Facebook or YouTube and say Molanas are Freemasons. Okay? So have your hands out like that. Okay? And these 3 fingers you put together. Okay? And make triangles. Okay? And then place those 3 fingers onto your head, and you slide these 3 fingers without your palms touching. Your palms will not touch your head, okay? So just your fingers are touching the top of your head. Yes? And you'll take it back. Yes? All the way back. Yes? And then your palms, put that onto your head now, on the side of your head. Yeah, and you can let go of the signs if you want. If you want to keep them, you can. and do a strike on the sides. Yes? You don't need to touch the top now, okay? So make sure this finger does not touch. This finger does not touch, okay? So if you do this back, then the palms touch. Keep the index finger separate, okay? Now that's been used, doesn't it? Now this finger is for your ears. So clean inside the whole of your ears. Your thumb is for the back of your ears. Cleans behind it, okay? The back of your hands are for your nape. Yes? Back of your hands are for your nape. Yes? In that way you used your whole hand and you did massage the whole head and you didn't use any part of your hand twice. Understood? Do you understand that? Yes? So fingers, 3 fingers, takes it to the back. Then your palm on the sides of your head. Index finger in your ear. Okay? In the book it's going to tell you to use your pinky finger. Okay, the small finger, but we use the index finger. Index finger in the ears. Thumb in the back of your ears. Okay? And then the back of your hands are for your nape. Okay? That includes a lot of sunnahs as well, but he's going to split it up for you now. Okay? So that, to do masa of the whole head, this is sunnah. That was number 10. Number 11 is to do masa of both ears. I've just told you that. So you use your index finger to do masa of both your ears. Even if it's with the same water as your head. So when we did masa, the whole masa, and then we use our index finger to wash our ears or clean our ears, did we wash our hand again? No. So that's a sunnah as well according to us. According to Imam Shafi'i, you have to rewash your hand to do your ears. Yes. Okay. Waddalku, and to rub while you are washing. Yeah? To rub while you are washing. Rub here means just to gently pass your hand. Okay. So while you're washing, you're just rubbing your limbs as well. Okay. You don't need to start rubbing. Okay. We don't mean that. Wal wala'u. Wala is to do it continuously. To do wuzu continuously. Don't wash your face and then have a chit chat with a friend. Yes. And then restart or carry on your wuzu. It won't take place. If the previous limb has dried up, yes, then your wuzu won't take place. You'll have to totally restart it. But it's sunnah to do it continuously. That was number 13. Number 14, intention. By intention, we mean a verbal intention here. A verbal intention, rather even intention within the heart. Even the intention within the heart is not necessary according to us. Okay. In wuzu that is. So this is sunnah to make an intention. Tartib, order of the wuzu. The order that we have for wuzu. This is also a sunnah. As in, look, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, فَغْسِلُوا وُجُوهَكُمْ, wash your faces. Yes. Then he said, wash your arms, including your elbows. Then he said, do masa of the head. Then he said, wash your feet, including your ankles. Now this order that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned is sunnah according to us. What is it? Sunnah. Yes. According to Imam Shafi is farz. According to Imam Shafi is farz. I.e. you have to do wuzu in order for you to have wuzu. Yes. Whereas as Hanafi say, no, if you started to wash your feet first, yes, then do the rest of your wuzu after it, that's fine according to us. The wuzu is still done. There's mercy in that which you might not understand. You mean you're on a journey, yes, and you stop at a service station. Okay, the first thing brothers might do is go take a bottle of water, go to the bathroom, to the toilet, wash their feet first over the toilet, and then come to the sinks and then make the rest of their wuzu there. Yes, because they don't want to be seen putting their foot into the sink. Okay. So that's that. وَالْبَدْعَةُ بِالْمَيَامِنِ. Another sunnah is to always start with the right. To always start with the right. This is a lasting sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ that he did with everything. Yes, with everything he did. Yes, down to the smallest thing, he started with the right? And I think I gave you examples last time, or I might get into another class. That down to combing his hair. Yes. So when you're combing your hair, you should always do the right side first. Get rewarded for it. Down to even washing your face. And the way I like to look at it is that you place your right hand slightly above your left hand. Yes. So when you're washing your face, your right hand touches first, and you get the reward for it. So down to even things like that. Yes. Down to things like that. When you're kicking the football, kick it on the right side. You'll definitely score then. Kick on the right side.
Do you know if you're doing wuzu and one of your limbs dries up, does that invalidate wuzu?
It's not invalidate wuzu, but if you've taken so long doing wuzu, yes, dried up.
It's just that, like, you mentioned about the service station. Do you know if you wash your feet first,
Yes.
put your socks on and then do the rest, would that be alright?
If just don't dry your feet. Yeah, put your socks on. Okay, then you can carry on with the rest. As long as it's straight away.
Yeah.
As long as it's straight away. What we mean here is that if there's a break, that it enough break for water to dry, yes, then wuzu does not take place. Okay. But if you intentionally dry yourself and then carry on with the rest of the wuzu, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine in that sense. When washing your hands or your toes, to start from the what do you call them? The fingertips. Yes, the toe tips and the fingertips. This is where you start from. So, for example, you don't start from the back of your hand. You start from the fingertips. So when you wash your hands, you always wash them downwards. When you wash your feet, then you don't start from the heels. You start from the toes. Okay. To do masa of the nape, that's the back of your neck, yes, and not your throat. The throat is makruh, so you don't wash the throat. It's makruh to do the throat. So these are the sunnahs of wuzu, 18 sunnahs of wuzu which he has mentioned. One thing I'm going to mention to you is, we said washing every part 3 times, yes? With the face, you can't exactly put your head underneath the tub, can you? Yes, so you generally wash it 3 times. With your arms, again, it's something that you really can't get your arms underneath the tub so that it drenches it all with water. So you still do that 3 times. With the feet, it's slightly different, because with tub, sometimes you just place your feet underneath, especially in a wuzu khana, you can place your feet underneath the tub, yes, and then the constant running water. If you wash the whole of your foot, yes, then I say that you still get rewarded for the sunnah washing 3 times. Because the sunnah is there for you to complete your fard, isn't it? So then what will happen is that if your foot is completely drenched with water, then the sunnah is complete as well. So you'll get rewarded for it. Where we take this from? This is taken from a guy who decides to go for a dive in the river. Yes? He dives into the river and he stays there for a few seconds. Yes? And then he pops his head back up. Then he's done all the fard and the sunnahs of wuzu. Yes? He's got rewarded for everything. Yes? Does that make sense? So similar with the feet, sometimes when you have it underneath the tap. Okay? We'll go into the adab of wuzu. The adab are really sunnahs, but the sunnah mustahabba. What are they?
Often, like amongst people in the subcontinent, when washing their arms, they just sort of get the water and move the arm from that side to the same.
Yes.
Our arms is done. What is that?
No, what you do is you wash it 3 times and you rub. Okay? And make sure water gets everywhere. Okay? But you do that 3 times. Yes? It's not just a case of 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's wrong. What is it? You do 1 and then rub your arm. Okay? Make sure water gets everywhere. And you do that 3 times and you see that water will then spread over all of your arms. Okay? It's a mustahab action to do. These adab, etiquettes that we're going to mention are more or less sunnah mustahabba. Okay. So they're mustahab. The first one is to sit in a high place. To sit in a high place. Not so high. Not like a skyscraper or something. Just in a high place. Why? So water can fall and it doesn't come back to you. Number 2, facing Qibla. Facing Qibla. So face Qibla while making a wuzu. Number 3 is not seeking aid from others. Yeah? Don't get help from others. Yes? As long as you can do wuzu yourself, then do it yourself. Yes? Don't tell other people to wash your arm for you. But there are places sometimes where you need them, where you might need them. For example, I can remember a place when we went to traveling to Medina Sharif and we had to stop, and you had to pump this water pump, yes, and a person had to literally constantly keep pumping it, and after like 2-3 minutes, that's when the water came out. Yes, but then he had to constantly pump it. So help like that can be taken, or if there's a serious need that you can't do wuzu yourself, maybe you can't move, yes, and then somebody can help you to do wuzu.
Pouring, for example, if you're at a service station or traveling in Medina,
Yes.
pouring water for somebody out of a bottle.
Yeah, that's fine. If a person can't do it himself, he finds it hard to do himself, then it's fine. Yeah, but he should try himself. Almost best to pour water in one hand and use it that way.
If someone wants to do it out of, say, kindness, that they're doing it as a hikmah, is that acceptable, or would you,
It's just an etiquette, isn't it? It is acceptable, yes. Yes, but the more reward is the person doing it himself. Another mustahab is not to talk while making wuzu. Yes, don't talk while making wuzu. Worldly talk, that is. Yes, no worldly talk. So no football talk. Okay, nothing about sports, and nothing about Nawaz Sharif. Okay, so these things can't take place. It's disliked actually. To combine between the intention of the heart and also the intention of the tongue. Yes. So you know what you're doing inside the heart, don't you? Just to say that on the tongue. That I'm making this wuzu for salah, for example, or to recite the Quran. So whatever your reason is for you to do wuzu, and this wuzu that you're making, to also bring that on the tongue as well, make a verbal intention. Verbal intentions in the Hanafi fiqh are not stressed upon, okay? Verbal intention other than tayammum. In tayammum we stress it. Outside of tayammum we don't stress it upon anything. Yes? I see a lot of people. There was one brother standing next to me the other day actually. I think it was Maghrib Salah. And it took him a whole rakat to get his intention sorted out. He actually stood next to me, and just before we went into ruku, he was mumbling something all the way till we got to ruku, and when you go in, just before the Imam said Allahu Akbar, he said Allahu Akbar like this. Yes? And I understood that he was making his intention. So the thing is, you don't need to stress these things upon yourselves as well. Yes. As we've told you, look, if you come into prayer and you come into Maghrib prayer and you say, I make intention for Isha prayer, and you go into it, your Maghrib is done. According to the Hanafi fiqh, it's done.
If you're making wuzu for no particular reason, just what you have to make intention. So, for example, the benefit of
Look, the basic intention is we don't have to make intention of what you're doing it for. The basic intention, I'm doing wuzu, regardless of what you're doing it for. Yes? But again, it's not necessary according to us. So it's something that's not stressed. This is why we classed it as a sunnah. We said it's sunnah to make an intention. Yes? This is why if somebody happens to, you play a prank on somebody and you throw him into the swimming pool. Yes? So you throw him into the swimming pool, he didn't have wuzu. Yes? He didn't have wuzu. He comes out of the swimming pool, he can straight away read namaz. Even without the intention of making wuzu. Do you understand what we're trying to say? Okay. Why? Because we don't just stress it. We don't stress the intention in the Hanafi fiqh other than tayammum. In tayammum it is.
if we're saying that in other mothers, for example, you have a verbal intention, a lot of our places where we do wudu has like a laboratory or something in it. Would you still do a verbal intention?
Yeah, a verbal intention won't have the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or anything like this in it, so it's still permissible. The only thing that we don't do when there's a toilet or something like this with it, then we won't mention the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Prophet. Yes? Anything else we can do. Okay. Dua with those things which are narrated. Anything that's narrated in Hadith Sharif, in terms of du'as that you make while doing wuzu, you can recite them. They're mustahab to recite. For example, while you're washing your mouth or rinsing your mouth, you can say Allahumma a'inni ala tilawati al-Qur'ani wa zikrika wa shukrika wa husni ibadatik. That, oh Allah, I seek your aid upon reciting the Qur'an and doing your zikr and thanking you and doing good worship of yours. While you rinse your mouth, you can say Bismillahi Allahumma arihni ra'ihat al-jannah wa la turihni ra'ihat al-nar. Oh Allah, grant me the fragrance of heaven and don't let me take the bad smell of hell. When you wash your face, you can say Bismillahi Allahumma bayyid wajhiya yawma tabyaddu wujuhun wa taswaddu wujuh. That, oh Allah, make my face illuminous on the day where faces will be luminant and will be darkened. Yes, and so on and so forth. You can go through all the ahadith mubarakah of reciting du'as. But again, these du'as will be recited when it doesn't have a toilet or something like this with it. When you're away from these kind of places, that's when you will recite these. For example, if you're in a wuzu khana, which is separate to the toilets, then you can recite these du'as. Okay. Most commonly is the second kalima, isn't it? Yeah, second kalima is recited. But you have to explain things to people as well, and that is the water that is cleaning you, not the kalima. Okay. The water is cleaning your body, not the kalima. The kalima is just cleaning your insides. Okay. To read Bismillah before cleaning and washing every single limb. Yes. You wash your face, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. You wash the arms, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. You did masa, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Wash your feet even with Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. This is a mustahab. He says here number 8 here, to place your small finger into your ears. But I told you before, we use the index finger. It's just a different narration he's taken from us. Okay, we use the index finger, but there's nothing wrong with you using your small finger. That's perfectly fine for you to do. If you have a loose ring, then just to give it a twirl. Yes, just if you have a ring, then turn it around. I'm going to mention something here. Other than gold and silver, yes, for men, gold is haram, silver is permissible. For sisters, gold is permissible and silver is permissible. Every other metal is haram. Okay? Remember that. Okay? Plastic is good. What are the toilets made out of? And sinks? Ceramic. You get fake jewelry made out of ceramic. Okay? That's permissible for you to wear as well.
What about platinum?
Platinum is a metal according to us. Okay, white gold is called, isn't it? If the gold is more than the metal, then it's fine. Remember, gold and silver have to be mixed with the hard metal. They don't just come pure, do they? They have to be mixed. Hence why you have 9 karat, 22 karat, and so on and so forth. They have to be mixed. But majority of them is gold. Yes. If majority of them is gold, then it's fine. If majority is bronze or any other metal, then that's what it's classed as.
Does that include watches?
Watches, ulama have given exception on watches. Yes, but we still say try to have a leather strap. Yes, it's best to wear a watch with the leather strap. But ulama said, some said due to need, to knowing the time, it's permissible to wear a watch as well. Okay, it's just an exception. Some ulama made a very, very long time ago.
Is there a reason why other metals are haram?
There's a hadith of the Prophet when a companion came and he wore different types of rings from different metals, and the Prophet kept saying to him, as I can smell the bad smell of idols from it. Yes? And then when he came wearing silver, the Prophet allowed it. Yes? So that's that. And then we have clear hadith regarding gold and silver for women. Okay. So you avoid other metals anyway.
Is that for rings or for all jewelry?
For all types of jewelry. For all types of jewelry. Okay.
Men are only allowed to wear rings if I'm
Yes. Yes. Women can't wear any type of jewelry. Okay. Any type of jewelry in terms of neck jewelry, arms, ankles, they can wear any type of jewelry. Men can only wear rings. Okay. But remember one thing, if there is a small amount of metal in it, that's fine. For example, you have a locket, yes, which has only got a small piece of metal on it, but the rest of it, the so-called chain is a rope or is made out of rubber or whatever, yes, and it's only got a small piece of metal in it, that's fine. Or if you have a bracelet, okay, it's generally made out of string or leather, yes, but there's maybe, I don't know what they call them, studs, which are made out of metal, that's fine. Because the majority of it is made out of something which is permissible for you to wear. What we're saying is that the majority of your jewelry that you're wearing, that piece that you're wearing like a ring or a necklace, should not be metal. Does that make sense? Yes? So one piece of jewelry like a chain, if majority of it is metal, then we class it as metal, then it won't be permissible. But if there's only small parts of which are metal, even if it's 45% of it which is metal, then there's 55% which is not metal, then we class it as non-metal. Diamonds are completely permissible. Okay? Diamonds, glass, crystals, whatever you can think of, emeralds, just metal that way, looking at which is not permissible. Okay? Diamonds and any other thing is permissible for you. Plastic is permissible for you. Okay? All of these things are. So we're talking that a ring, give it a twirl so that water can get underneath your ring. Okay. To do mazmaza and istinshaq with the right hand. So to rinse your mouth out, to rinse your nose out with the right hand. With the right hand. I'm not talking about blowing your nose, okay? You're taking water into your nose or putting water into your mouth. This is done with the right hand. The blowing of the nose, like it says next, al-imtikhatu bil yusra. The blowing of the nose will be done with your left hand. Okay. It's mustahab to do wuzu before the time enters. It's mustahab to do wuzu before the time enters. That is that you are ready for wuzu. Yes? Sorry, ready for salah. Ready for salah. Go for it.
What's the recommended ways of drying yourself after wuzu?
Recommended ways of drying yourself. If you ask me,
When you sometimes go like that.
if you ask me, each masjid should have one of those body dryers. Have you seen them in Saudi? I seen one in Saudi when I went. Yes? Right next to King Fahd's gate, they used to have this body dryer. You just walked into it, and it should just give like a whole puff of wind straight onto you, and it should dry you straight off. In terms of the prophetic way, Prophet is known to have used like a towel or a cloth. Okay?
When you go like that.
No, you don't do that. You don't do that.
Why do you do that?
It's not nice to do that. Water goes everywhere.
Is that the only reason?
That's the only reason.
It's not makruh, right?
It is disliked. It's disliked to splash water anyway. Disliked to splash water anyway, and to do it that way is it takes the waqar of a Muslim away. Yes? The status of a Muslim, it takes that away. Okay. Muslims are the most elegant people, aren't they? Yes. So you should dress elegantly, live like kings, and you might not have a penny in your pocket. That's what Shaykh Muhammad says. Yes. Live like kings, and don't let anyone know that you don't have a penny in your pocket. They say Shaykh, the great Muhaddis of Sham, Badruddin al-Hassani, he lived like a king, and I believe his son, did he become the president at one point in Syria? Yeah, prime minister. Even though his son was like that, he lived like a king, he dressed like a king, everything. Yes, but the truth was when he passed away, he had nothing to his name. Yes, he had nothing to his name when he passed away. It's just a Shazli way, by the way. It's not common amongst the whole of Islam, but it's just like a Shazli thing that we tend to dress eloquently. We play the part, okay, but we might not have a penny in our pockets, okay. It's just something that we enforce as well. Okay. To bring the Shahadatain after the wuzu. So to say the second kalma after you've done wuzu is a mustahab. Yes, renew your faith. You've renewed yourself. Your body's been renewed. Now renew your faith with it as well. Let me tell you one thing here as a hikmah, and that is that people who suffer from whispers, waswasa, yes, in salah that is. The reason why many of us suffer from whispers in salah is because we didn't concentrate in our wuzu. Yes? If you concentrate in your wuzu, that I'm doing this for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and your mind is concentrating on washing this limb. Yes? Make dua in English. Oh Allah, the sins I've done with my hands, forgive them. Then you move on to doing masa. Yes? Oh Allah, all the haram haircuts I've had, please forgive me. Right? And do masa of your head. Okay? You're concentrating on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, aren't you? You're constantly turning towards Him. I can guarantee you, when you stand in prayer, you won't have waswasa. Okay? Your thoughts will wander. Many a time what happens when we're doing wuzu, we do it like robots. Yes, we're just washing our hands, but then we're thinking about all the things that are going on in our day. Then, I would say 95% of the time, you're going to go into salah and you're still going to think about those things. Okay? So this is why you see all these mustahabbats are turning you towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as well. You know, making dua, saying Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah, saying these things constantly turn you towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's mustahab to then drink, this is number 14 I think, to drink the remaining water that you did not use of wuzu standing. Yes? So the water that you didn't use, yes? So you got two pots, water you picked up from here and you let go on this side. The water that you haven't used yet, okay, drink that. Okay, that does not mean that you stick your mouth to the tap of the sink. Okay, you won't be able to drink all of that water. Okay, that's if you use, a water vessel or something like this. Okay, a lota, then you drink from it standing. That's the mustahab. Okay, you drink from it standing, opposite to how you generally drink water. This one you drink standing, and Zamzam water you drink standing. Okay. Another thing is, with Zamzam water, the first time you drink Zamzam water, or maybe the first couple of times you might drink Zamzam water, when especially look, somebody comes from Hajj and they give you Zamzam water, as honor for this water you drink it standing. Yes, maybe the first time, maybe the second time. But if the person you've met who's coming back from Hajj, he's giving you Zamzam water all night, you don't have to stand every single time. Okay. Yeah, what are you going to do in Makkah? That is Zamzam water, isn't it? If you're constantly drinking Zamzam water, you don't need to stand up for it. Stand up for it maybe the first time, second time, as honor for it. But if you're drinking Zamzam water all night, you don't have to constantly stand up for Zamzam water. Okay, it's something people tend to miss. Okay? And Zamzam water is holy water. Zamzam water is holy water. And you can have a bath with it as well. Okay? Balke rather in the sunnah of the Prophet is recommended for you to have a bath with it. Last time I think I mentioned this, somebody started doing tawbah. Yeah? They started touching the ears. It's actually recommended when you're in Makkah to have a bath with Zamzam water as well. It purifies you in and out. Okay, so remember that. So you drink this standing and then make this dua. That Allahumma ja'alni minat tawwabina waj'alni minal mutatahhirin. Oh Allah, make me from those people who are often repenting. And make me from those people who gain complete cleanliness. Yes. If you look at the word here, often repenting, we didn't say from those who have repented. Yes. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran that He loves those who keep on repenting. Yes. Those who are often repenting, that they continuously keep repenting, He loves those. Yes. He didn't say that He loves those people who do one sin, do tawbah, and then never turn to Him again. Okay, but rather keep doing tawbah. That's a little thing there for you. So these were the things that are mustahab in salah. Any questions on them? In case I've gone too fast. Can du'as be made in the heart, not allowed? Yes, they can be made. Yes, in the heart, even if you're in the bathroom, even if there's a toilet there. But again, it's suggested that you don't as well. Okay. What part of the chin does the woman have to cover? The woman doesn't have to cover her chin, but anything behind the chin, that needs to be covered. So hence why some women put this scarf onto their chin, because there's nowhere else to tie it. Yes. So the place between their throat and the end of their chin is something that needs to be covered as well. Yes, because it's not classed as the face, so it comes under the aura. So to cover that, you have a problem. Yes, because you can only tie your scarf in two places, either at your throat, the top of your throat, or either on your chin. Yes, so the best place to put it is on your chin. Okay, that's it, officer. We'll go on to the next section, and this is those things which are makruh for the person doing wuzu. For the person doing wuzu. I just mentioned something on the hijab anyway. Hijab itself, okay, that is necessary upon you. The niqab is something that you should still observe as well. I know there's a debate if it's fard as wajib or what, okay, but if your life's in danger, then you can't take your niqab off. You can't take your niqab off. If you need to show yourself to the police officers, then you can't take your niqab off. Any security officials, you can't take your scarf off. You know, where you have to present your identification and then they want to see your face. For sisters, there's nothing wrong with that. And don't get into this kind of things that where you see that's, you know, especially in airports. Yes, when the security guard has asked for sisters to just take off the niqab. Yes, there's nothing wrong with doing so. Yes, it'll save you a lot of trouble. Yes, you don't need to start arguing with them and start showing it's my right to wear it, and you don't need to do that. Yeah, your plan is to just get through wherever you're going and get to your destination. Okay, so you don't need to show up things like this. If they tell you to remove your hijab, then that's a basic right. That's a basic right for you to have. Okay, but as for the niqab, the veil itself, that's something which we can relax on as well. Okay. It's makruh for a person. There are 6 things which are makruh for a person to do while he's doing wuzu. Israf, to waste water. To waste water. Wasting water is makruh. Israf generally is makruh. Israf generally is makruh. But I will say one thing. Israf, in terms of the limits of israf, change from person to person. Yes? If you've got £10 in your pocket, yes, and you don't know when your next meal is and you spend it all on makeup, yes, then we'll say that's israf, because makeup is not a dire need, is it? According to some. Okay? But if you look at it, and that is that it changes, but that same £10, if a rich man had it, yes, a person who is rich, or a lady who's rich, okay, then for a lady who's rich and she spends £10 on just on makeup, then that's something is acceptable, isn't it? Yes. So it goes by the standard, your own standards, really. Yes, your own standard. Same thing with wuzu. What comes under israf? Yes, don't get into this thing that, you know, so and so person, he only used a small bottle of a glass of water to do wuzu with. Yes. And then give a fatwa that if somebody uses more than that, yes, it's israf. No, people are different. People are different. What would you say to a giant? To use a glass of water to do wuzu with. He can't do wuzu with that, can he? Yes? So it changes from person to person. Okay? It's something that you need to understand in this, because a lot of people will confuse you on matters like this. Okay? I had a big, I shouldn't say on camera, but I'll say it anyway. I had a big issue with fireworks a long time ago, yes, where a lot of people debated my fatwa on fireworks. Yes, where the actual fatwa was on the sale of fireworks, and for you to maybe buy a firework and maybe one firework and have a display of one firework. Yes, my fatwa was that it's permissible. Yes, and certain people who later on did tawbah as well, because they said all sorts to me at that time. Somebody even took me out of the fold of Islam for it. Okay, but what happened then was that they were saying that even buying one firework is completely haram, as in haram qat'i. Yes, decisively haram. And they said that to buy one firework is wasting wealth. It's wasting wealth. I asked them to prove it continuously, for about 2 years, I think it was. Yes, and nothing. They never proved anything. Yes, in regards to that. Which then later on, one of them he retracted his statements and he then apologized for what he said and so on and so forth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be pleased with him as well. Okay. But again, israf, there's limits. Yes, there are limits. If you're taking a loan out to have fireworks on your brother's wedding, yes, then that's israf. That's a problem. Okay, that's israf. If you're taking a loan out to hire cars on a wedding, then that's israf, isn't it? Yes, because that's not in your strength, and you're getting yourself into more trouble. Yes, so that's when it comes into israf, and israf changes from person to person as well. So wasting water. So like we said as well, whatever your need is, above that need, in terms of need here, when I say need here, I mean including the sunnah. Fulfilling the sunnah is part of your need as well. So anything beyond that need, you've completed the sunnah and then you're still washing yourself because of a hot day. So you're doing wuzu, yes, you're doing everything, you're doing all the sunnahs, and then you keep putting water over yourself. Yeah? Then the rest of it will come under israf, which you don't need to do. Like the Prophet said, there's israf even if you are at the banks of a river. Yes, so meaning you only take the water that you need. Then there's the opposite, number 2, which is taqtir, to be conjuice. Okay, to be conjuice. In our terms, to be I was going to say Jew. It's actually a term that the ulama of Baghdad came up with a very long time ago. There is a verse in the Quran that picks up on this, that if you give them money, a whole load of money, that you have to write down, which people are serious about. If you give somebody, I don't know, £1 million, you're going to make a contract, aren't you? That you're giving him a loan, make witnesses on it. Then that's something that they can't debate with, can they? Yes? But if you give them petty cash, maybe £10, yes, or maybe £1, £2, £3, but you expect them to give it back to you, yes? Jews are such people that they'll turn around and say that you never gave us it. Yes? The Quran actually picks up on that. Yes? It's part of their who they are, it's part of their fitrah. Okay? So this is why it came in the Islamic side in Baghdad specifically, that when somebody would do this, then it was a term that he was a Jew. They weren't calling him a Jew as his religion, they were calling him a Jew in terms of a miser. Okay? So being miser with water, a person who does wuzu with a glass of water like this, he's a miser. Okay? He's conjuice. Okay? God has given us water, then use it. Yes? And use it to your need. Yes? And the need here, like I said, is with the sunnah, and the sunnah is that you wash every single limb so that you get drops of water coming off your limbs as well. Okay? So we don't want you to get water, dip your finger in it and start doing that with it. Okay? And nothing falls off. Okay? We want you to wash over it so that water actually comes off. You get drops of water coming off your limbs. وَضَرْبُ الْوَجْهِ بِهِ, to splash water on your face. To splash water on your face is makruh. We don't splash water anyway. Okay? And it's makruh tanzihi, he says. It's makruh tanzihi. Another thing is to talk while making wuzu, like we said in the back, with worldly talk. This is makruh. is makruh. To seek aid from another person when you are completely able of doing wuzu yourself. And the last one is to do masa 3 times with new water. Or even generally to just do masa 3 times is makruh. New or old water is still makruh. So this is what are the makruh actions within wuzu. I'll go to the next chapter as well, and that is that wuzu is of 3 types. Wuzu is of how many types? 3 types. The first type of wuzu is farz. First type of wuzu is farz. And who is a farz upon? A person who doesn't have wuzu. Yes. And what is it for? For example, namaz, salah. Even if it's nafli salah. Yes, even if it's nafli salah, you still need wuzu for it. You can't come into salah without wuzu.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر، الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
There's some questions here that sisters who keep their ankles uncovered and men who keep their ankles covered. I think we spoke about this last time, didn't we? Yes? It should be the opposite way around. Yes? Men keep their ankles uncovered and women should, it's fard upon women to cover their ankles. Okay? And there are wa'idat from the Prophet ﷺ upon these as well. Okay? That men who drag their clothes on the ground, then that part of the body will burn in hell and so on and so forth. That's wa'idat like that in Hadith Sharif. When we say makruh, when I say makruh here, unless I haven't said is makruh tanzihi, is makruh tahrimi. Yes? Generally when makruh is said, then it refers to makruh tahrimi, unless I specifically say that it's makruh tanzihi. For example, in the last previous chapter, we said israf is makruh, we said to be a miser with water is makruh. By that I meant makruh tahrimi, but when we got to splashing the face, I said makruh tanzihi clearly. Okay? So remember that. Generally in texts, when it comes just makruh like that, it means makruh tahrimi. The more you wash your parts, body parts, the more they will shine on the day of judgment. Yes, that's true. The Prophet ﷺ said that. Okay, the more you wash your parts, that means the more you do wuzu, the more they will shine. Okay, on the day of judgment. So the first type of wuzu was farz wuzu, and it's farz upon the person who wants to pray namaz, even if it's nafli namaz. The reason for that is that to come into prayer you have to have wuzu. So even though it's an optional prayer, the condition of the optional prayer is to have wuzu as well. So hence you still have to have wuzu. The second type, another example of it is namaz-e-janaza. You need wuzu for that. Similarly is to do sajda tilawat. If you recited the Quran, and in the ayat that you recited is an ayat of sajda. Now you need to make that sajda, you need to have wuzu before you make that sajda. We'll talk about that later on as well. To touch the Quran, if you want to touch the Quran, then you have to have wuzu. Okay, even if it's one verse of the Quran. So this is one category where it's farz upon you to have wuzu. Second category is a wajib wuzu. When it's wajib, not farz, but necessary upon you to have wuzu. And there's only one category of that, and that is tawaf of the Kaaba. It's tawaf of the Kaaba. When you want to do tawaf of the Kaaba, it's wajib for you to have wuzu. It's not farz, it's wajib for you to have wuzu. The third category of wuzu is mustahab. Mustahab. For example, when going to sleep, yes, it's mustahab for you to have wuzu before you go to sleep. When you wake up from sleep, then it's mustahab for you to do wuzu straight away. It's mustahab for a person to do wuzu who always stays upon wuzu, even though he might not have a need for it, like to read namaz or to read Quran, yes, because then it becomes necessary, farz, wajib or whatever. Okay, let's say he just always stays in wuzu. Let's say at 10 o'clock in the morning, he's read Fajr, everything, read his Quran as well, and then after that he happens to break his wuzu. But he has no need to actually do wuzu, does he? Yes? But because he always stays upon wuzu, it's also mustahab for him to just renew his wuzu, even though that he has no purpose, no reason for doing wuzu. It's also mustahab to do wuzu, mustahab for a person to do wuzu in terms of wudu alal wudu. So a person already has wuzu for him to do wuzu again. Yes? This needs to be understood. For it to be classed as wuzu upon wuzu, there has to be a worship in between the two. There has to be a worship in between the two. It's not a case that you do wuzu, you came up the stairs and went back down again and did wuzu again and said, I'm doing wuzu upon wuzu. You won't get the reward of it then. The reward is that you do wuzu first, do some kind of ibadah like read the Quran, yes, read a nafil prayer, read a fard prayer, whatever it is in terms of worship. And then after that you renew your wuzu, even if you have the intention of cooling yourself down on a hot day. Yes, it still be wuzu upon wuzu if you made the intention of wuzu. Okay, but the condition is that you have an ibadah, a worship underneath, in between them. Otherwise, it will turn into israf. It'll be wasting water then, wouldn't it? If there is no worship in between.
So that example you gave, someone who does wudu at 10 in the morning,
yes,
he does nothing until zuhr, he should carry on with zuhr without making wudu.
No, the person who constantly stays in wuzu, yes, he can do wuzu straight away again after he's broken his wuzu. But let's say he's just done wuzu,
And then 2 hours
yes,
later he does zuhr.
yes, but remember he can still read nafil prayer, can't he? So if he reads nafil prayer, then after that he can do wuzu again, and that class as wuzu alal wuzu. Another example is after backbiting is haram. Backbiting is haram. But if a person happens to fall into this major sin, then it's mustahab for him to do wuzu. Take the effects of it away. Cool down a bit. Okay? Backbiting is always done in anger, isn't it? Is it? Some people these days do it happily. It's like a pastime these days, isn't it? Backbiting is a major sin. Yes, if you find yourself backbiting, try to get rid of it from yourself. It'll destroy your life. Okay, yeah, this word banter, I put fatwa on it when I was on the convoy. Okay, just when I say fatwa, here's just that you didn't use this word. On the convoy went to Syria, they kept saying banter, 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 banter. And the first time I heard it, yeah, so I actually put it out there that, do you remember it, Sidi Jamil? Yeah, that I put it out there that you can't use this word. Okay, and I think they stopped using it for a while. Yeah, they didn't use it. Yeah. Just because I didn't know what it was. Okay, but it was a case of where they're just taking mick out each other and they're saying whatever they want to each other and so on and so forth. And it's something that you shouldn't do as Muslims amongst each other. Okay. So to do wuzu after that, after lying, you should do wuzu after it. If you find yourself that you had to lie, it's a major sin, lying. The curse of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is upon the liars. If you find that you've done that, then you should make wuzu after it. Yes. One of the wisdoms behind it is that wuzu reminds you of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as well. Yes. So that you bring this sense of shame and this sense that, I've done something bad. Okay. And then it counsels you through it. These are the things that we, like Christians, what Christians do is go to the priest, don't they? And they do a confession. Yes. Our way of confession is only to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that's this, by doing wuzu. Yes. You've turned towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Namima, I would translate as slander. Okay. If you slandered anybody, different to ghiba. If you slandered somebody, slander is something that's not true. Slander is something that's not true. Ghiba is something that is true. Yes? Ghiba is something that is true, but you just want this third person to know this so that he hates that person. When this third person really has no reason to hate him. Yes? That comes under ghiba. Namima, slander, is not true. It's false. You blame a person for something behind his back which are not in him. Okay? Ghiba sometimes, in its literal sense, is permissible. Yes? For example, for ulama to tell people about a certain person who's a deviant, yes, then it becomes permissible for them to mention his bad points, yes, so that people are not harmed by his deviancy.
Yeah, what if you were to tell someone about someone's bad qualities to help that person stay away, or
Then you can, but you don't mention it in the sense that you're demeaning that person then. Okay? And after every mistake and sin that you've done, just do wuzu after it. If you make a mistake, then do wuzu. By mistake, I mean sin here. Okay? Every sin that you do, make wuzu after it. In shad or shi'rin, after bad poetry. I intentionally translate it like that. By that I mean listening to really, really gross poetry. Okay? Bad poetry. Things which may be of a sexual nature. Yes?
Would we equate that to songs?
Yes, songs, yes. Yes, songs which people dance on. Yes? Then do wuzu straight after it. Do wuzu straight after it. I would even do it after bad poetry as well. If somebody can't rhyme, then do wuzu after it. Okay. These days you have freehand poetry, I think it's called. Yes? It's nonsense, isn't it? Yeah. I think in my collection, well, I don't have much of a collection, but in some of my poetry, I've done one freehand style poetry. But I don't tend to write like that. Laughing out loud outside of prayer. Yes, it's mustahab for you to do wuzu after it. Yes, so if you're literally giggling at a joke and you're laughing really loudly, yes, with qahqa is an actual specific type of laugh, and that's like with the ha ha ha, yes, where you can't control yourself. Then after this, you should also make wuzu. It's mustahab. We said outside of prayer, the reason if you laughed out inside prayer, yes, it'll break your wuzu and your prayer. Okay, it'll break your wuzu and your prayer, and we'll talk about that next time, inshallah ta'ala. Another thing which makes wuzu mustahab is if you wash the deceased, if you give ghusl to the deceased, then it's mustahab for you to do wuzu after it. But we'll tell you later on, it's mustahab also to do ghusl as well yourself. Okay? I met somebody who's really adamant that it's farz for you to do ghusl after you wash the deceased. Yes? Don't get into that concept, okay? We'll do a section on that as well. One thing with the sisters is there's a dire need of sisters knowing to know how to wash the deceased. Yes, there are many women out there that pass away and there's nobody knows how to wash their bodies. Yes, and then what happens is, I'm talking about in the household, and what happens is then they hire another lady. Yes, and that lady then, it's just a job for it, isn't it? Yes, and she will just do it however she wants to do it, basically. So it's best when we do that chapter, inshallah, pick up on it, so that within your own families you can do the ghusl yourself. For men, there's quite a few brothers who know their stuff, but for sisters we always get phone calls that any sister that can give ghusl to a lady who has passed away. Yes, so we need that knowledge to get out there of how to do it, so you can push it into your own families. Likewise, if you carry the deceased, then it's mustahab to renew your wuzu. It's mustahab to do wuzu for every single namaz. For every single namaz. But I'll tell you one thing here. If you already got wuzu, and you're going to go and make wuzu again, for every single, to get the reward of doing wuzu for every single namaz, it should not be at the expense of your namaz though, in jama'ah. Yes? Don't say, I'm going to do wuzu again, even though you got wuzu, and you're going to do wuzu again so that you get the reward of doing a wuzu for every single namaz. That you do wuzu 5 times daily. Yes. Don't let it be at the expense of the jamaat, one thing, and don't even let it be at the expense of missing your takbir tahrima. Yes. There's more reward in your takbir tahrima to say Allahu Akbar with the imam than you going and do wuzu. Okay, remember that. What people do, I'm going to get the reward of doing wuzu for every single namaz, and then what happens, they miss about 3 rakats as well. Yes? There's no point of that. There is no point of that. And even if you get to the last rakat, it's actually debated in the Hanafi fiqh if you actually go to the jamaat or not. Some people say, yeah, you're part of the jamaat, but you didn't get the reward of it. Some say, no, you got the jamaat and you got the reward of it. Yes. So
What would you say?
I would say you've got the reward of the jamaat. You got the reward of the jamaat. But it's in the actual debate is in the attahiyat. If you go to the last attahiyat, the last tashahhud, then there's a debate.
Okay.
Yes? And some scholars did debate the 3rd rakat, but the truth is with the Hanafi, the most authentic position regarding the 4th rakat, or the last rakat of every namaz, if you get to that, then you've got the jamaat. Yes? What's disputed is if you get in tashahhud. Okay, that's what's disputed. We will talk about that as well, inshallah, in prayer. Okay, we'll stop there, inshallah. It's namaz time. Did you get to read namaz? Not with the jamaat though. Sorry, the mics were switched off. Hopefully they will have them on next week, inshallah. I'll tell them. They had them switched off and we just got late for the namaz. We'll just finish this section off. Is mustahab to do wuzu after doing ghusl? Sorry, before doing ghusl. So before doing ghusl is mustahab to also do a wuzu. So before you have a bath, is mustahab to make wuzu as well.
Is that the same for someone who's got ghusl fard upon him?
Yeah, same for him as well, yes. Similarly, if a person can't do ghusl, but ghusl is fard. If a person has ghusl fard upon him, but he wants to eat or drink. Example of this could be, for example, that a person wakes up for suhoor, sahri time, but he's only got enough time to eat. Ghusl is fard, but he's only got enough time to eat. So then he should do wuzu before he eats. Yeah? At the very least, he should do wuzu. It's mustahab for him to do that. Similarly with sleeping, if a person, ghusl is fard upon him, but he's too tired to do ghusl, so he needs to go to sleep, then he should at least do wuzu before he goes to sleep. Similarly, a person should do wuzu for anger. If you had a really bad argument with your wife, then you should do wuzu before. If the wife is angry, the man should do wuzu. Okay? The reason for, not the reason for the man, but the reason to do wuzu for anger is from the fire. Anger is from the fire, or is the effect of the shaitan. Yes? And shaitan is made from the fire, hence water cools down fire. So the Prophet said, cool it down with water. So make wuzu. It's mustahab to recite the Quran. Mark my words, recite the Quran. So it's mustahab to do wuzu to verbally recite the Quran, not touch it. Touch it is farz, isn't it? You need to have wuzu to touch the Quran. But just to recite the Quran on your tongue is mustahab for you to have wuzu. Similarly, to recite hadith sharif, to narrate hadith sharif, to teach any type of knowledge, then it's mustahab to have wuzu. It's mustahab to have wuzu for azan. Yes? And for the iqamat. But we'll tell you when to, if you don't have wuzu for the iqamat, then it's makruh. Makruh tanzihi. It is makruh. The muazzin can't exactly say, the muqim, he can't exactly say, come to prayer, come to prayer, come to success, and then turn his back and walk off himself, can he? Yes? So if he's saying, come to prayer, and he's standing there, the prayer is about to start, so he says, qad qamat as-salah. The prayer has stood, the prayer has begun. Yes? And then what does he do himself? Because he hasn't got wuzu, he has to walk out then, doesn't he? So it's slightly bit of hypocrisy in that, isn't there? In what he's calling them towards, and then he doesn't do it himself. So that's why in azan is permissible, because there is a gap between the azan and the actual prayer. But for the iqamat, it is makruh. Same thing for the khutbah, Jummah khutbah. Yes? It's mustahab to have wuzu for it, but not to have wuzu is makruh as well. I know by this makruh, we mean what? No? We're going to say tanzih here, but I told you there was a difference as well. It was khilafe awla here. Khilafe awla. But we'll class it as makruh and it is disliked. Similar case, the imams come and just doing a whole talk of what? On purification. Yes. So he's giving a whole talk that you should keep yourselves clean, stay in wuzu all the time, and then comes down after pulpit and then makes wuzu himself. Okay? Meaning they're going to go straight into prayer, isn't it? Straight after the Jummah khutbah, what happens? The iqamah takes place and you go straight into prayer. So here is not right for the imam, who might be the imam as well, leader of the prayer. It's not right for him to walk off, yes, and to make wuzu while the people are still waiting for him. It's mustahab to have wuzu, and we'll tell you later on, is mustahab to do ghusl as well when you're visiting the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam. Yes, if you're visiting there, then we'll tell you it's mustahab to do ghusl. If you can't do ghusl, then it's wuzu. Similarly for wuqufe arafah, for wuqufe in Hajj, when you stand in Arafat, yes, it's farz, isn't it? But before you do that wuquf, is mustahab to have wuzu. Meaning doing wuquf of Arafah is not condition for you to be in a state of wuzu, but it's mustahab. We will also tell you later on as well that it is mustahab for you to do ghusl for wuquf Arafah. Yes? It's one of those things, I'll tell you now. It's one of those things that Sahib Nurida Imam Shurun Bulali, he mentioned in the start of the book, but when he came to do his revised edition of it, when he came back and he extended it slightly and he added Kitabul Hajj to it as well, he forgot to mention it there. Yes? So this is why sometimes we've written in our book and a lot of people picked up on it. In Essential Islam book, we put that it is mustahab to do ghusl for Arafat. But what people kept on doing was, is picking up Nulida and going straight to Kitabul Hajj and saying, no, it's not written there. Yes? Where is it written? It's written here, and then it's written in the next few chapters where it tells you the places of ghusl. Yes? Where is mustahab and where is sunnah to do ghusl. All this when he actually went to define what Hajj is and the method of Hajj and what's Sunnah in Hajj, what's Mustahab in Hajj, he just forgot to mention it. Okay, but he has mentioned it in the start of his actual book. So it's something just for your knowledge. Okay, just to pick up on that, he's mentioned it here, but he forgot to mention it in actual Hajj. Okay. Similarly, for sa'i between Safa and Marwa, when you run between Safa and Marwa, sisters walk. Okay, it is mustahab to do wuzu for that. He says here it is mustahab to do wuzu after eating camel meat. Okay, camel meat. There are many reasons for that, but why did the author mention it? The author mentioned it because according to Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, it is farz for you to do wuzu. Okay. Now, what's the wisdom behind it? I don't know. Maybe it's heavy meat. Okay. And it breaks your wuzu maybe instantly. So that's why. The truth is, the Prophet ﷺ, when he ate camel meat, then the Prophet made wuzu straight after it, and he commanded the Sahaba Ikram to do wuzu after it. According to us, it was a mustahab thing to do. It was a mustahab command. Yes, the Prophet didn't mean it as an actual command, which makes up like a farz or a wajib. Okay, it was just a mustahab thing. But we say it's mustahab to do wuzu after it. The actual reason why you should do wuzu after this specific meat and not any other meat, it's not really known to us. Like I mentioned, it's just maybe a wisdom in it is because it's heavy meat. Yes, and that's why. Okay. And if you've ever eaten camel meat, I've eaten camel brains. I thought it was keema, and then they told me afterwards. And I ate it in Medina Sharif as well. Yeah? My uncle made me eat it all, and then told me afterwards it was camel brains instead. Okay. It does taste nice though. Okay. للخروج من الخلاف العلماء من اختلاف العلماء. If there's a dispute amongst ulama, then for you to do wuzu, yes, to come out of this dispute is better. For example, look, the example the author gives is that to touch women, yes, according to the Shafi FIqh, breaks wuzu. Okay, and according to us, it doesn't break wuzu. Yes. Now here, in this case, as Hanafi say, is better, is mustahab for you to do wuzu, just to come out of that dispute. Another example is, it's the opposite way though. Is according to Imam Shafi'i, bleeding does not break wuzu. Yes, and according to us it does, doesn't it? According to us it be farz. But if you were to apply the same ruling on a Shafi'i, then it would be mustahab for a Shafi'i to still do wuzu. And there's many examples like that. Many examples like that. Do you understand that? So if there's a dispute amongst ulama in terms of according to one mazhab that the wuzu is broken and according to our mazhab it hasn't broken, then we say it is mustahab for a person to still do wuzu. Okay. There you go. These are the three types of wuzu. We had farz wuzu, which is for namaz and things like this. Then we had wajib wuzu, which is only tawaf. Okay. And then we had mustahab, and we gave you lots of examples of mustahab kinds of wuzu. We stop there. Any questions so far on that? No? Okay. There was a question. Is backbiting if you are telling someone else about something who is misbehaving with you? Okay. It's down to your intention really. If somebody is misbehaving with you and you're telling somebody else, yes, if it's just to tell them so that they can tell this person off, then that's not backbiting. If it's to tell them, to just tell that person a bad point of this other person and how they've treated you, and you want them to move away from him, then that comes under backbiting. Okay. Backbiting is a major sin, isn't it? And the Prophet ﷺ said that is akin to eating the flesh of your brother, the back of your brother. But that's even one of the punishments which has been designated for those people who do backbiting. They will eat meat on the day of judgment. Who's memorized it? Anyone memorized it yet? It's about a week. Is it Sajid? Yeah, you memorized it. You should know it anyway, no, do? Eh? Inshallah. We might tell you wants to stand up and read the whole Surah Bahaya. I think we're going to go a page behind because we intentionally missed one thing. That is page 29. This is the last of the terms that we're going to give you that you need to learn. I think it's a page before it, sorry. 26. Ism and fi'l. Ism and fi'l. What's the ism? Definition? Anyone from the boys? What definition did I give you of ism?
Has a meaning but independent. No tense.
No tense. Has meaning, no tense. What's the fi'l? Sisters? Has a meaning and has at least one tense. Okay? You have to remember these things. Okay. Ism and fi'l in terms of the letters, before we go into that, actually I need to tell you something else. And that is, there are 3 weak letters in the Arabic language. Anybody know them? You done tajweed, haven't you? You should know them. What are they? Yes. Waw, alif, ya. We in Surfis like to do it the other way around. Waw, alif and ya. These are 3 weak letters. That's all you need to know. Okay? 3 weak letters, and we just combine them to say wayun. Wayun. Wayun are weak letters. Waw is a weak letter. Alif is a weak letter. When I say alif, I don't mean hamza. Okay? This is a hamza. Okay? This is an alif. Yes? If it has a zabar, zayd, pesh, these 2 are jazms. 2 different types of jazms. Okay? If it has that on them, then what is it? It's a hamza. If it's just silent, then it's a alif. Okay? We need to make that difference. Have you got the board rubber? There's 3 weak letters, and in accordance with these 3 weak letters and few other things, ism and fi'l is on 3 types. Ism and fi'l is on 3 types. You can make a note of those weak letters. Waw, alif and ya are weak letters. Now in accordance with that, ism and fi'l are on 7 types. 7 types. They are sahih, muda'af, mahmuz, misal, ajwaf and naqis. They're written there as well. He's written as as-sahih, al-muda'af. You can take the alif lam off them and just say sahih, muda'af, mahmuz, misal, ajwaf, naqis and lafif. And you can learn them in a poem as well. Okay. Sahih asto, misal asto, muda'af, lafif, naqis, mahmuz, ajwaf. Yes? It's in Persian. Sahih asto, misal asto, muda'af, lafifo, naqiso, mahmuzo, ajwaf. I write on the board, but I'm waiting for that board rubber. Where's he gone? It's in Persian, by the way. As means there is, or he in Urdu. There is Sahih and Misal, and there is Misal and Muda'af. Lafif and Naqis and Mahmud and Ajwaf. Okay, that's all 7 of them. We're going to go through, don't worry. We'll go through all of them. That's the Persian one. We're going to go through all of them now. So these are all 7 there. Yes, they're not in order, by the way, as the order that we're going to do them in. So the first one is Sahih. Sahih. Sahih, we can translate as a healthy word. Yes, empty of any weak things. Okay, weak letters. But I'm going to give you a proper definition. And that is that Sahih is that in whose huruf asliya, ray letters, it has no hamza, no 2 letters of the same kind, and no harf illat. And no harf illat. Simple definition, isn't it? So Sahih is that which does not have. So it doesn't have a hamza in there. But where in the hamza? The fa and lam kalma should not have a hamza. Remember huruf asliya, fa and lam, aren't they? Whatever comes opposite fa and lam is huruf asliya. So we're only talking about huruf asliya, forget huruf zaida. We're not talking about that. Okay? Just huruf asliya. In the huruf asliya, there is no hamza. There is no 2 letters of the same kind, like 2 dals, 2 tas, 2 bars, nothing like that. And there is no harf illat, i.e. there is no waw in the fa and lam kalma. There is no alif in the fa and lam kalma, and there is no ya in the fa and lam kalma. Then that is Sahih. That is Sahih. So look at the example. If I say daraba, now daraba, what's the wazn of it? What's it? Af'ala. Where did you get hamza from? Fa'ala. Yes? Now if you look at the fa kalma, is there, what's the fa kalma in it? Dad. Yes? What's the ain kalma? Ra. What's the lam kalma? Ba. Are there any hamzas in there? No. Are there any 2 letters the same? In fa and lam? No. Are there any huruf illat in there? Harf illat. Waw, alif or ya? No. So from the 7 types, we will class this to be Sahih. What will we say? It is Sahih. Okay. Let me give you another example. If I said Akramta. Who wants to take the wazn out of it? Do you want to do it? No? Do it. Af'alta. Af'alta. Yes? What's the fa kalma? Anyone? Kaf. Yes? What's the ain kalma? Ra. What's the lam kalma? Mim. So you got, they are the huruf asli now, yes? Now what is it from the 7 types? It is Sahih, isn't it? We don't need to worry about these. Even though they're extra letters, we're not worried about extra letters. Extra letters can be whatever they are. Yes? Just the fa and lam kalma, they need to be healthy letters. Can't be doubled and cannot be a hamza. Okay? Do you understand that up to there? What we're saying is that it needs to go opposite fa, ain and lam. The rare letters. The things that are repeated, the ta and the hamza, these are what we call fake letters or extra letters. Yes? We're not worried about them. Just the fa, ain, lam, kalma. If you go back to the lesson of huruf asli and huruf zaida, I told you that the huruf asli, the real letters of a word, are those which come opposite fa, ain and lam. Anything outside of fa and lam are extra letters, huruf zaida. Huruf zaida we're not worried about. Yes? When we're looking at if the word has a hamza in it, or it has two letters the same in it, or if it has a harf illat in it, we're only talking about the real letters. Yeah? That makes sense? That's the first one, sahih. The second one we'll do is muda'af. We'll do is muda'af. You know one scale at least, don't you? And that's fa'ala. You've learned that, haven't you? Which one is it? Fa'ala. Let me tell you what muda'af is. Muda'af is that in which huruf asliya there are two letters of the same kind. What are they? Two letters of the same kind. Yes? These are repeated letters. We'll just say two letters of the same kind. I.e. there's two dals. There are two dals. But we're going to split mudaf into two types. We're going to split mudaf into two types. You got muda'af sulasi, just as is given, and muda'af ruba'i. It's in the book. Muda'af sulasi and muda'af ruba'i. What was sulasi? 3-letter word. What was ruba'i? 4-letter word. So there's two letters of the same kind, either in a 3-letter word or in a 4-letter word. Let's have a look at this now. Muda'af sulasi is that where the ain and the lam kalma are the same. Ain and the lam kalma are the same. Yes? Ain and the lam kalma only. Ain and the lam kalma are only the same. Example of it is madda. Yes? Madda. Madda in its actual form was madada. What was it? Madada. What's the scale of madada? You should know it all now. No? Fa'ala. So we write fa'ala there. What's the fa kalma? Meem. What's the ain kalma? Dal. What's the lam kalma? So what are the ain and lam kalma? They're the same, aren't they? Yes? And is this a 4-letter word or a 3-letter word? It's a 3-letter word. So then it becomes muda'af sulasi. What does it become? Sulasi. In muda'af sulasi you only have one type or one method or one way in which you can have two letters the same. There are many possibilities. The ain and lam kalma can be the same like that one. The fa and the lam kalma can be the same. The fa and the ain can be the same. But all the other possibilities we've thrown out the door. Yes, because they don't take place in Arabic. Only one takes place, and that's why where the ain and the lam kalma are the same. Okay, do you understand that? Don't worry how it became madda. That's later on. Yes, that is for later on. The example of muda'af sulasi. Before we come into the example, what is muda'af rubai? Sorry, muda'af rubai. Muda'af rubai is that where the ain, and remember in this scale you're going to have two lams. There's going to be a fa, ain, lam and lam to make it a 4-letter word. Muda'af rubai is that where the fa and the first lam are the same, or and. Both ways it works, or and. Yes? Or and, the ain and the second lam kalma are the same. Okay? And we just give you one example of this where they like that is waswasa. Waswasa. There's no rule in it. Yes? So here, we'll take the wazn now, is fa la la. Yes? Fa kalma is wow. Ain kalma is seen. Lam kalma is Wow, lam kalma is seen. So fa kalma and the first lam. We'll call this the first lam. Okay, they are the same, aren't they? First lam and fa are the same. Then if you look at the ain kalma, what is it? Seen and the second lam. We'll just name them like that, second lam. The second lam are the same. Yes? But it doesn't have to happen like that. That's just one example where both of them are in it. In some words, it'll be where the fa and the first lam are only the same, and the ain and the second lam are totally different. Yes? Some words will mean that the ain and the second lam are the same, and the fa and the first lam are totally different.
Could it be the first letter and the last letter?
No. Only these two scenarios that we just told you. And altogether there'll be 3 scenarios then, won't there? 3 cases. Yes? Where the fa and the lam kalma are the only ones that are the same. Second scenario is where the ain and the second lam are the only ones that are the same. And the third scenario is both of them combined are in one word, like this one. Yes? Do you understand that? Don't worry, we're going to do all this again anyway. Everything gets repeated, by the way. These are just telling you terminologies. Yes, so you're familiar with them, and then when we come back to them and we talk about them in detail, at least you know the basics of what they are. Yeah? So for example, if I say to you, today we're talking about muda'af, you should know what muda'af is. Yes? You have a sense of what muda'af is, and then we can talk about it in detail, that these are the rules that we apply in muda'af and so on and so forth. The next one is mahmuz. Has everybody got these examples? I'm going to take them off. The next one is mahmuz. Mahmuz. Mahmuz, if you look at the huruf asli in it, is ha, mim and za. Hams. Put ha at the end of what does it make? Hamza. Okay? So it tells you what it is really, doesn't it itself? The name gives away what it is. Mahmuz is that in which in whose huruf asliya it has a hamza. Yes? It's that word in which there is a hamza in its huruf asliya. Simple definition. How many huruf asliya are there? 3 in the basic form, isn't there? There's 3. So then hamza is split on 3 types. Hamza is split, mahmuz is split on 3 types. That's mahmuzul fa, mahmuzul ain, and mahmuzul lam. Okay. So for the first one of this will be mahmuzul fa. Oops. Then you got mahmuzul ain. And then mahmuzul lam. The definition is simple. What would mahmuzul fa be?
The fa letter have
Yeah, the fa has a hamza. Simple. What's the ain? Mahmuzul ain.
the ain letter.
The ain kalma has a hamza. And what will mahmuzul lam be? The lam kalma has a hamza. Simple definitions for them. So when mahmuz is that way, the huruf asli have a hamza. Then we split into 3 categories, and that is mahmuzul fa, mahmuzul ain, mahmuzul lam. Yes? Which means that if the fa kalma is hamza, then we call it mahmuzul fa. If the ain kalma is hamza, then we call it mahmuzul ain. If the lam kalma is a hamza, then we call it mahmuzul lam. Simple as. Okay. Examples of each one. Fa like amara. I don't know what he's got. Has he got amara? Amara. Amara. Take the wazn away. Fa'ala. What's the wazn? We're going to keep using that one anyway. It's really easy. Fa'ala. Yes? So if you put there, fa'ala. So if you look, what is the fa? Hamza. Make that difference between yourself because it's going to affect us later on. Yes? So get used to that change. Yes? So the fa kalma is a hamza. So here, if I was to ask you, what is this word from the 7 types? Yes? Don't say it's mahmuz, then I have to ask the question what type of mahmuz. Just hit the nail on his head and say mahmuzul fa. Mahmuzul fa. Mahmuzul ain's example is sa'ala. What's he got? Sa'ala. Is it hard? No, it gets easy. Sa'ala. Yes. The wazn is fa'ala. What's the wazn? Fa'ala. Okay. Again, here the hamza is in which place? With the ain, isn't it? So, sin is fa kalma, hamza is ain kalma, lam is lam kalma. So then it become mahmuzul ain. Mahmuzul ain. Okay. That's that. Don't worry, you know this part of it, I'm giving you now, but the truth is when we do the actual stages of sarf, it's quite far ahead. Okay. But it's just good to know it anyway. Yes. So this is mahmuzul ain. What is it? Mahmuzul ain. Then you've got mahmuzul lam, like qara'a. 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 Same wazn, isn't it? Fa'ala. But this time the hamza is in lam kalima. It's in the lam kalima. So this will be mahmuzul lam. Okay. Mahmuzul lam. Amara means he gave a command. Sa'ala means he questioned. And qara'a means he read. Okay. So this is mahmuz. What is it? Mahmuz. That's simple up to that. Do you understand that? Yes? Get a grasp of it? Don't worry too much about it. We're going to do them again. Misal. The fourth one is misal. I'm going to take this off the board. Fourth one is misal. Misal is that where the fa kalma of a word is a harf illat. Misal is that in which the fa kalma is a harf illat. But before we go into it, we're only going to look at waw and ya. Waw and ya, and we dismiss alif. What do we do? Dismiss alif, because really alif can't have a vowel on it, can it? It can't have a zabar zair patient because it turns into a hamza then, doesn't it? Yes? So we dismiss alif. We're only looking at waw and ya. So misal is that where in the fa kalma there is waw or ya or harf illat. Okay? Harf illat. Misal now, just like the next two categories as well, will be split into two categories. Yes? Wawi and ya'i. Wawi and ya'i. Wawi and ya'i. We'll call it misale wawi. For misal, we'll call it what? Misale wawi. And then misale ya'i. Okay, misale ya'i. The name says it. What's misale wawi? Yeah, is that where the fa kalma is a waw? Wawi, waw. Yes, and misale ya'i is that where the fa kalma is a ya. If you're struggling with it, don't worry too much about it. Okay, we're gonna do sahih first anyway. So the whole of sarf now is based on these 7. So what we do is we go to sahih first, and you do all the patterns of sahih, because that's the base. Yes. Then we'll go to mahmuz or muda'af, whichever one we choose. Yes. But the rest of the 6 have to be based upon sahih. So look, when we say fa'ala, that is sahih. But to make, for example, you got mahmuz or muda'af, we said madada, didn't we? So to make madda, you have to know that it was madada, which is fa'ala, isn't it? So you have to bring it onto the scale of sahih first. Yes. Then you've got mahmuz. Yes, mahmuz can be on the wazn of sahih. Then you got misal, and again there'll be changes to misal as well, but we'll tell you, and with ajwaf and naqis and lafif, but they're all based on what? Sahih. What are they based upon? Sahih. Meaning, we give you the patterns of sahih, and then after that, after we've done sahih, then we go into the rest of them, and all we talk about is rules. All we talk about is rules and how changes take place, and then we leave it to you to practice. Okay? So the main thing is that we're gonna, in this course, you're only doing sahih, and we'll see how far we get with it. Okay? So that's what I'm saying, you don't really need to worry about the rest of these. Yes? But if you're gonna do a proper Dars Nizami course, then you've got heads up for it. Okay? This is the taster, by the way. Okay. So look at the example of misale wawi. Wasala. Wasala. Okay. Wasala. Wasala. So here fa'ala, isn't it? We'll just stick with fa'ala all the way through. Wasala. Fa'ala. What's the fa kalma? Wow. So from the 7 types, we'll say it is misal wawi. What will we call it? Misal wawi. Then you got yasara. Yes? Yasara. What will it be from the 7 types? Misal ya'i. Okay? That's that. Life gets easier. Next one is ajwaf. What is it? What do you think ajwaf is? Yes? Where the ain kalma is a waw or a ya. So the next one is ajwaf. Number 5 is ajwaf. Yes? So ajwaf is that where the ain kalma this time. What is it? Ain kalma is either waw or ya. And again, it's split into 2 categories. These 2. But we just put ajwaf in front of it. Ajwaf wawi and ajwaf ya'i. It's in your books as well. Ajwaf wawi and ajwaf ya'i. Ajwaf wawi is that where the ain kalma is a waw. Ajwaf ya'i is that where the ain kalma is a ya. Okay. Take an example of these, but they're kind of hard examples. I'm going to make it easy. For example, ajwaf wawi, do qawala. Qawala. But really, when you have to recite in Arabic, it's qala. Okay. Yeah, no, it's written like this. Qala. Okay. But its actual form is qawala. I don't want you to go too much into this. You look already confused. Qawala. Okay. The whole point of Sarf was very to teach you those rules of how qawala turn into qala. But we know qawala is a pattern of sahih. Fa'ala, isn't it? What is it? Fa'ala. Yes? So how did qawala turn into qala? We'll tell you a rule that when there is a waw or a ya and there is a fatha before it. What is there? A fatha before it, that waw ya will turn into an alif. What will it turn into? Alif. Okay? So we'll have to say qala instead. What will we say? Qala. That's what you see in the Quran, don't you? You won't see qawala in the Quran. Yes? These are rules which are necessary rules. You have to read them by that as well. Okay? Another example is similar to is ba'a. Ba'a. Okay. Ba'a. Asl was baya'a. What was the actual? Baya'a. He sold. Baya'a. Same rule again. What was that? Waw, ya with the fatha before it, with the zabar before it, then it turns into alif. So we applied that rule. It has to be in the same word though. So we applied the rule and we changed it into ba'a. Don't worry too much about that. Okay. Then you got naqis. The number 6. Naqis. I think I'm running out of space. Naqis is, what do you think it is? Boys? Lam kalma is harfilat i.e. waw or ya. How many types do you think naqis has? 2 types. What are they? Wawi and ya'i. Same thing again. Same pattern. Naqis wawi and naqis ya'i. So naqis wawi is that where the lam kalma is a waw. Naqis ya'i is that where the lam kalma is a ya. Okay. Examples of this, they get harder. The wawi is da'awa. What is it? Da'awa. But the truth is you have to read it as da'a. Okay, same rule that we told you. That's a waw with the fatah before it, it turns into a alif. So you got da'a. Yes? Da'wa. So asal was da'awa. Naqis ya'i's example that is got in the book is rama, which was in its actual form was ramaya, fa'ala, ramaya. Same rule again that we applied. You don't need to worry about too much about those rules. Okay? Just understand the basic of it, that there's a waw or a ya in the lam kalma and we call it naqis wawi or naqis ya'i. Okay? Do you understand that up to there? I'm going to finish it off. Lafif. Lafif. Are you writing that? Lafif is the last one, number 7. Okay. Lafif is that which has 2 harf illat in the huruf asliya. Different to muda'af. Muda'af was what? That it has 2 letters the same. This is kind of particular that it has 2 harf illat. 2 harf illat which are the same. Yes? 2 harf illat. Sorry, they don't have to be the same. 2 harf illats. Yes? 2 harf illat. Either waw and ya, or waw and waw, or ya and ya. Works, or all 3 of them work. Okay? This is split into 2 types. Okay? No, not Hamza. Not Hamza. We'll tell you later on with Hamza. We call that khichdi. Okay? That's the word we give it. It's a separate thing out of these. Yes? We call it just mixed words. Yes? If there's a waw and a Hamza together, we just class them as mixed words. Okay? We don't actually classify them within these 7. Okay? But Lafif is split into 2 types. Lafif is split into 2 types. Okay? You got Mafruq. I don't know which one he spoke first. Mafruq and Makroon. Easy way to remember them before we go into the definition is look at the huruf asli fa, ra, qaf, farq. Yes? What does farq mean? Different, separate. Separate. Yes? And qaf, ra and noon is the opposite of farq in Arabic. Together. Yes? So mafruq will be where the fa and the lam kalma are harf illat. Yes? What separates them? Yes, for example, look. What example has he given? Waqaya. Yes, waqaya. We'll have to read it as waqa, but just for this we'll do it. Waqaya. Yes? Now look here. Fa kalma is waw. Lam kalma is ya, fa'ala. Now here, what's separating them? Ain kalma. So hence we call it lafif, mafruq. Separation. Yes? Easy way of sometimes remembering things. Yes? Makroon is where they joint, where the ain and the lam kalma are harf illat. Ain and the lam kalma are harf illat. I.e. there's a waw or a ya there. He's given tawaya. Has he given tawaya? He's given rayun. We'll go tawaya. Okay? Or we'll go with that of the rawaya. 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 Wazn is fa'ala, isn't it? Fa'ala. What's the ain kalma? Wow, lam kalma. Are they together? Yes? So here it becomes lafif, makroon. What did it become? Lafif, mafruq. Makroon, sorry. I'll go through them all again really quickly for you. Okay? Sahih is that which has no hamza in the huruf asli. No hamza in the huruf asli. Doesn't have 2 letters the same in huruf asli, and nor does it have harf illat in the huruf asli fa, ain and lam. Yes, that's just a checklist you have to work by now. We're going to break that checklist down. Yes, so if you say no to all of these three things, hamza, hamza, two letters the same, and harf illat. If you say no to all three, then it's sahih. It is sahih. Now, if it has hamza in it, what did we put first? We put mudaf first, didn't we? If it has two letters the same in it, and you give that a tick, then it becomes muda'af. A muda'af is of two types: muda'af sulasi, muda'af rubai. Muda'af sulasi is that where the ain and the lam kalma are the same. Muda'af rubai is that where the fa or the first lam, ain or the second lam are the same. If it has a hamza in it, in the huruf asli, then it becomes mahmuz. Yes, mahmuz is of three types: mahmuzul fa, mahmuzul ain, mahmuzul lam. If the hamza is in the fa, then it's mahmuzul fa. If it's in the ain, then it's mahmuzul ain. If it's in the lam, then it's mahmuzul lam. If it has a harf illat in it, then that defines the next four that we're doing. If it has a harf illat in it, then it defines the next four. We just need to split them up. If the harf illat is in the fa kalma, this is misal. Then it's split into two. The fa kalma is either going to be a waw or a ya. So which will make a misale wawi or misale ya'i. If the ain kalma has a harf illat in it, this is called ajwaf. It is split into two categories: ajwaf wawi, ajwaf ya'i, depending on if it's a waw or a ya. If the harf illat is in the lam kalima, then this is naqis. What is it called? Naqis. Out of the whole of sarf is the hardest. Yes, they have a saying in the Urdu language that the farmers would prefer plowing the ground than do naqis. Yes, i.e. they would say in their days they didn't have tractors, did they? So they had to control the bull, yes, or the buffalo, and also get the plow and hold that, direct the animal, and also apply pressure in the heat onto the plow so that it digs into the ground. And they would say that these people would say to plow the ground was easier than reading the patterns of naqis, because they're really tongue twisters. Yes, they are tongue twisters. So naqis is naqis wawi, naqis ya'i. If the waw is if the lam kalma is a waw, then it's naqis wawi. If it's a ya, then it's naqis ya'i. Then if you have two harf illat in a word, then this is lafif. Split into two categories depending on where it is. If they're separated, then they call lafif mafruq. If they're together, then it's lafif makrun. But there's only two ways it comes, and that is lafif mafruq is where the fa and the lam kalma are harf illat. They can be different harf illat, but they are harf illat. The lafif makrun is where the ain and the lam kalma are harf illat and they together. They are the 7 types. Yes. At the moment, we only need to worry about sahih. Go.
You know, for the second one,
Yes.
if the fa and the n is together,
Yes.
it's the same thing.
Then it's lafif makrun. They don't have to be the same, just like the harf illat, the weak letters.
Yeah, but do they have to be together then?
They have to be together.
Either way, it could be the last two or the first.
No, just this way that you told you. Just the ain and the lam. Just the ain and the lam, not fa and ain. Okay, just the way we've told you. You won't find a word like that anyway. Okay? You understand that? Alhamdulillah, we got through it. I know I rushed it slightly, but I want you to get onto the patterns because I don't want to drag it. Yes? So, inshallah, next week it'll be more enjoyable for you because it's right easy. Yes? Inshallah. The hard bit's over and done with, so you don't have to worry about anything now.